Oh my goodness. Wow.
He might call.
Wow.
Or he folded.
Here we go. GG Millions. What a day. Mr. Fedor Holz, the young prince, crown up guy in the building. Fedor, good to have you on again. How are you?
What's up? How's it going?
It's good, man. It's great. You know, again, just kind of spoiled with the quality on the show with the players. And today you can see Fedor's resumes out there. Semi-retired, back, always in and out, but just getting results, doing what he does best. Almost 50 million. That's a pretty crazy number to be crossing, almost there. I know you can taste that. I know you look at that stuff. 6 million, largest cash ever, all-time money list, number 10, Brazil. He is the leader. Actually, number 2 on the Brazil. I love Brazil. I'm always talking Brazil. On Germany, the number 2 is at the table today. We'll talk about Christoph Vogelsang as well. He's about 10 million in the rear of you, but one of the many great players we have on the show today. And of course, Fedor was just in the Tritons battling over there. We're going to talk about that. Want to know how that was in Jeju, but let's go ahead and dive right in to this week. We got a lot to cover, and we are going to see the winning hand from last week. I think we saw a sort of underdog was one of the shorter stacks, if I'm not mistaken, 8th place. Hard to do to come in these fields when you don't have a lot of chips, but our Romashka did get that done. He's a bit of a content creator, influencer, media personality. Have you played with him before, Fedor? Do you ever play with him live, or I'm sure you play with him online?
Live, not so much, but online I've played some with him.
Yeah, he was as advertised. He's fun. He's doing some stuff that's a little unconventional, and he did end up getting it done, as we're going to see the winning hand. Good hand to have heads up with ace queen suited. Going to start with a open here, and pretty standard stuff. Going to open and gets jammed on. Will make the call with ace queen suited. Gets in a classic flip to end it. Would have been the chip stack underdog if he had lost that flip, but you can see the queen did come right away and then does dodge the 2 5s to come. So tell me just real quick, give me a little insight on his game. How is he able to beat the best players in the world? He has 4 titles, very impressive on the GG Million. Not an easy thing to do. Tell me a little bit about his game and what you know, don't give it away, but what do you notice about him?
I mean, I actually haven't, I haven't played so much online lately, but if I remember correctly, he's pretty much out there. Like he can play different styles as well. Like sometimes he can play very loose. But I think, you know, the more, the closer we get to the win, I think he can be spicy sometimes, you know, and that can be tough, right? Like it can be tough sometimes to play against someone, you know, when they're not just folding all the time. It can be really difficult when they have a hand, you know, they get lots of good hands. It's just very hard to play against them. So yeah, he can be wild.
For sure. A little bit of wild card did show us the ability to win, the ability to close, the ability to turn it on. So he got that done. Congrats to him last week. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the all-time ranking. Nothing really changing a ton there. You can see the list, like a lot of guys you play with all the time. None of those players are at our final table today. With that being said, we do have an extremely stacked final table, and we will see some names that I thought might have been there, but they're not. There's a look at the season 1 of 2025, going to be broken into 2 parts, with the first half culminating at the World Series of Poker in June, and then we will have the second half that will end at the Bahamas. So there's a look, as you see, a couple players already with multiple final tables. I don't believe anyone with 2 titles, although B Binder winning that special edition 1.8 million to first event, putting him at the top in terms of earnings at the moment. Let's go ahead then and dive into the prize pool today. 386, very healthy, almost $250,000 for third. Fedor, you've been here so many times. You've been a guest multiple times. Tell us a little bit about the payouts here and what stands out in general for the GG Million.
It's just, you know, if you play online tournaments, high stakes, it's just one of the best tournaments. It's just really fun, you know. I think it's a size also where it's, you know, there's enough for first. You make the final table kind of often, especially if you play 2 or 3 entries. It's a bit like Triton, actually, you know. It's like when I go to Triton, it's not like other stops where you basically never make the final table, but like you actually run deep quite often. That's what I personally like a lot about tournaments like this, and obviously it's a nice first prize as well.
Yeah, it's also cool when it's the bigger buy-in and less people, less entry, smaller field size, because you do get to battle frequently with players and you really get to kind of make some notes and adjustments. So again, these players very familiar with each other. Let's go ahead now and just run through who we have. Ihar Soika, someone that I am not as familiar with. I do know he has a very impressive resume. Was looking almost $1 million score, I think 989K, over 4 million in lifetime earnings. What do you know about this player, and have you battled on the live or online?
Yeah, I have actually. Let me just look up his face because I'm fairly certain. I've played lots against him online. Yeah, I've played against him live. Some, not a ton. I think mostly actually a few years ago. But yeah, good online player. I think I'm not sure how much he plays nowadays, but yeah, used to play quite a lot of. And he's also an old school player. I think I remember him playing like at least at my time back in the days.
Yeah, in 2014, he took down essentially $1 million score, took first in the 10K high roller at the Barcelona EPT. So that was, a decade ago, winning $1 million from a 10K buy-in. That's always nice. And he is fourth on the Belarus all-time money list. So someone who's very competent, knows what he's doing, and has a good pedigree of poker, as you said, has been around for a while. So let's go ahead. Number 8, who is 8th place. This is a guy we know, and he has played WSOP, won the 100K for a bracelet. He's been here many of times, has 3 wins alone in the GGMillion, and set almost 18 million in earnings on GG. Just astounding stats. So tell us about Jans and what makes him so special.
I mean, I know him for a long time, and I think there's a few things to say about him. I mean, first of all, he's an impeccable poker player. He's very, very good at the game. But then also, I think what's important is, like, I think he has a really good reputation. He's always sometimes throwing some fire on Twitter. But I think it's also kind of good. It's like he's one of the guys. I think I hold him in quite high regards. Both in terms of his game and his integrity. And I think that's also important to talk about. Like the guys who have not messed up stuff, or at least not that I know of, in like 10 years plus, and I think that's always good role models. So and yeah, he's a really, really strong poker player. I think that's also very impressive. Like, he used to be, I actually, I did maybe this is a bit of a segue or derail, but I did a power ranking in like 2015, and he was very high on my list back then already, because and he wasn't that known back then, but I always thought he was a very strong player.
Yeah, it's high praise from Fedor, and we can see again with his sort of guys that I know. There's Jorrit Van Hoof, take a big score at the World Series main event, and he has 6.3. Jans has 5.8 live earnings as well. He's just right there below Tian Mulder for the top spot in the Netherlands for live rankings there. They're sort of right in the top 3. So he's, again, plays live, plays online, and you can see he won a bracelet in the 100K, one of the more prestigious events. So very tough player again. So let's go to our next player on the final table, number 7, John Proudfoot, someone I haven't seen here for a bit. He has made a final table and does have not so much cashes in the GGMillions. He's looking to make that stat change with the big score today, would put him likely in the black there. He's you can see only one final table. So tell me about John. Have you played with him live, and what do you know about him?
To be honest, I don't remember. I think I played against him, but I don't remember right now. I don't think he plays the high roller events, if I recall correctly. So yeah, if we played maybe a few years ago, or more than a few years ago. And online, I also don't know too much about him, so I can't say too much here.
Yeah, again, live, a little less experience there too. He's got 320,000 live earnings, hailing from the UK, I guess, rocking the maybe Irish flag where he's maybe traveling or at the moment. But you can see main event got deep in the WSOP online. Impressive, knows how to play. 35 big blinds today, over 3 million in GG earnings. So he has played a lot of poker on here, just not as much on the GGMillions. We'll see if he can come with 35. Again, a lot of chips for one of the shorter stacks, call it. He's not that short, 35 big blinds. We'll get to see what he can do with that. Let's go to our next player today, who is someone, again, I'm less familiar with. Gavin, does that ring a bell? Andrianov, who is with 7.3 in GG earnings and not as much experience in the GGMillion.
I do know him. I've played some against him, but I don't know too much in detail. I think he starts to play Tritons now, so I've seen him play there, if I recall correctly. And I've seen his face quite a bit, but I don't know too much in detail.
Yeah, just interesting to mention and add on to what you said is that Triton, that he did win a Triton in the PLO, if I'm not mistaken. Triton, yeah, it's just double checking that. That was in 23 November. Took down a Monte Carlo 20K high roller, a bounty PLO. So maybe has a little more gamble in him than others. It's also took down the Triton Jeju, got a good score there. The 100K had a nice score and was just competing there. So you might have seen him and played with him recently. And he does have a lot of earnings on GG. So 7.3 there and just not as much in this particular format.
I do think he's a PLO player.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's why, like, I think he's a PLO specialist. I also think he's a coach for Run It Once, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that he's a very good PLO player, but I don't know too much about his Hold'em. But I think it kind of makes sense as well. You know, if you go to Triton, you can lengthen your stay and also play some Hold'em tournaments. So
there, yeah, maybe dabbling in the other and giving some action in the Hold'em. And here he is with 37 big blinds, looking for a nice score today, and does have a bunch of earnings, as we said, in GG over there, 7.3 million overall. So all right, next. Who do we got? I know this is a guy that Kiat Lee, who I was asking if it really was definitely him and his name. He's got a fun guy. Played with him actually when I was in Asia. Played with him in a few stops in the AAPT, 37 blinds as well. And someone who doesn't play as much online, but has a very impressive resume live, over 14 million in earnings. I'm sure
is that our Kiat Lee?
I did. I double checked it. I was making sure. I believe confirmation was put in for that. But I didn't know if someone could use his name and maybe put it as fun, because he's a very fun player and a great guy. And tell me if it is. Let's assume it's him. I've been told it's him.
I think he's. He's also one of those guys. Very interesting character. I mean, I think. I haven't talked too much with him, but I think one of those guys where you can tell at least I would. Lean myself out of the window and say that he's a great character, seems very trustworthy, seems like one of the good guys for sure, and also very interesting to see like his game has progressed a lot. So this is one of the players I play a lot in Tritons. Like, I have no online experience with him, but played a lot of live poker with him, and very cool to see like I see him stop by stop and I can tell like, okay, this guy he's getting better for sure. Yeah,
and just to mention now in Triton, playing the 125K, playing the 150K, cashed for almost 4 million in fifth in the 8-handed 150K, 125K, also final tabling. So again, just people that are buying in for six-figure events and tournaments consistently and showing up and competing with the best in the world. I mean, you have to put him in that category, and we will see how he fares today online. A little different game, but hey, we'll see if he can get his first win, and he only has 7 appearances with 2 cashes in the GGMillion. All right, who is next? We will go over here and see Mr. Vogel saying number 2 on the German all-time money list, only behind Fedor, who is here with us, about a 10 million lead on him. He just kind of always is in the biggest events in the world, battling. We see him here too. No win, actually, which only 56 appearances, does have 7 final tables, but hasn't got the W. What about Christoph? How well do you know him? How much do you play with him? And I think you guys play some soccer as well, or football, if you will, when you're on stops, and he's part of the gang over there. Tell me about Christoph.
Yeah, I mean, he's very, very competitive. He loves football for sure. And yeah, I mean, I know him for a long, long time. I know him since basically I started playing a bit higher, which is 12 years ago now. So my first high rollers, I played against him already basically. So he was the German crew, 1 or maybe even 2 generations before me. And yeah, always is taking the game serious, in it for a long time, and he's always trying to win.
Yeah, 39 million, 38.7 in live earnings, pretty insane. He also has a 6 million best live cash, which happens to be your largest live cash, exactly the same amount. So pretty impressive from him. Number 2 and number 20 in the Germany all-time money list, number 21 all-time ever in poker. And again, there's a stat there about second in the 125K, but you could go and find a long list of, that's just a current recent big score, but he has a lot of those. That was for 2.4 million just about 2 weeks ago. So again, in good form, always dangerous, knows what he's doing. Does get some slack for the hoodie. That's if you're not familiar with the name, or there's giving him a meme about covering his neck and being kind of in a turtle position. But I like Christoph. He's always seems very friendly, nice, and gets very competitive. He does his best and competes, and always not giving anything away, as we know. All right. Let's go to our next player here, who is another player we have seen recently. Does not have a win, has 16 final tables and 109 appearances, 2.7 of his 11.2 million earnings on GG, coming from the GG Millions. How often do you play in battle with Johannes?
I mean, not that often. He's mostly has an online background and now starts to play more live poker. I see him more and more at the Tritons. He's one of those guys that I highly respect. As for, let's say, the newer generation, I think he's an incredible player. And what I find really impressive there is generally like the I think there's poker players, and then I think there's players, that take the game very serious, the strategical part of the game, understanding the theoretical side of the game. And I think he's one of those that just really has a very deep technical understanding. And I always find that very impressive, with these guys where you just kind of feel that there's no end to it. Like I think, in 1, 2, 3, 4 years, he's just gonna dig deeper and deeper and try to understand the game more and more. And I always find that both inspiring and impressive, and I think he's already a very strong player. And I'm fairly certain, if I could place bets on people who are going to be very successful, he'd be very high on my list.
Yeah, I just want to touch on his Bahamas that was just now in December. Pretty amazing turnout in series there. He did cash the 26K. The 50 mil guaranteed. He cashed that and then followed up actually winning the live GG Million edition there. So he took first in that for 807,000. Very impressive. So he won the live version of this exact tournament. See if he can add a online title for that as well. So we'll get to see a hand. Let's go and check out a hand he played Sunday. This is pretty cool. Top 3 stacks. We're gonna get to see a hand, and you can see the early on stages, 2,500, 5,000 blinds, 7-handed at the moment. Gets pocket sixes in middle position here. And there's Romashka, who won the prior week. Never know, he can get in there a little light. Let's see if he does come in raising, and Johannes has sixes here. Call, okay. This is a tough tournament. Whenever you look around at these tables and we see somebody has like a lot of really known good players here. Here's a good flop. Top set with sixes. That's hard to do. That's not something you'll say very often. Flopping a set, but also being the highest set on the board. Obviously losing the 5 deuce suited, maybe in the blinds, or 5-7 somehow, but pretty much the nuts as it stands. And we see a lead out of the small blind. Pretty interesting.
Oh,
wow. A lot of action here.
I mean,
I guess what do you size wise here? You are feeling very good for value, and also obviously the immediate 5 draw.
As small as possible, right? Like, it's particularly, I think, against big blind and UTG. You just kind of want to go somewhere in the as small as possible. Would be my sizing here. There's not really much equity you can or want to deny, right? It's like, I mean, folding out a 7 is like, yeah, sure, but it's not really something that's relevant.
There's Romashka. He could open the 7-5 suited for sure. Not going to be the case, I imagine, here, but like he's obviously he's going to rip in there, maybe overpair 5s. Who knows what he's doing and what he could do. Maybe it's just jacks, but like we'll see here. This is 6's top set. Igor 3-4. So he could. I mean, listen, he could have 5-7 suited. He had 3-4 suited. Going to get it in buried there, needing misdeal, right? Or running 3s or running 4s. That's about as behind as you could get in quite a interesting hand there. Romashka opens the 3-4 suited and it's punished. And,
did you see the small blind fold?
Yes,
that
pretty
is
strong.
Insane.
That's a nice note to make. Dialed in player there. And did lead, led his set on that board and got away. Pretty impressive stuff. Cool hand.
That is
nice
insane.
selection from Sunday. There's a look at a hand from Johannes and a pretty fortunate flop, and could have got some more there. 3s.
Wow. I still can't believe that. That's wild. I mean, it's also because he's probably not flatting. He's probably not flatting 4s. I'm not sure. So it's like you literally fold against 6s, that's very strong fold.
Yeah, that's top shelf stuff, and also the fact that Romashka, as we said, a little more exploratory, right? Willing to have hands such as that you could just have buried. You know what happens if Jonas does have sevens or fives or flatted a trap and you're just in that good of shape. So anyway, very interesting hand, and a little bit of a side note on the player in the small blind there. Can get some info and know he's thinking and knows what's going on, and really impressive fold. All right, let's go to our number 2 player, over 50 million in earnings, Fedor, ahead of you on the all-time money list. That's something that you wouldn't bet when you come to show up today that's someone that would do, but he is a guy you battle with 19 million in GG earnings. I don't need to build him up too much. We talk about him. He's here regularly, 4 wins, 136 appearances. He's done it all. And tell me, Adrian, what can we expect from him today with this stack? 61 blinds, number 2 today. Is he the favorite?
I mean, it's kind of boring to talk about him because he was there the last time. You know, it's kind of just feel like a broken record at this point. I mean,
exactly.
He's one of my favorite players. I think he's one of the strongest players on the circuit. We kind of grew up together, quote unquote. You know, it's like we started at the same time, roughly, to play high rollers, and I feel like we kind of took a similar path in some way as well. He just always loved the grind. He's just in there every year playing, and it's not really because he has to. You know, when I talk to him, he's just, I love it. You know.
Yeah.
And that's I think very, very impressive about him, and he's just a really good guy too.
Yeah, loves the game, loves to win, and he's in position to do that today. Pretty interesting final table. We got 25 blinds as our short stack and 64 the big. Kind of unique. Oftentimes you'll see a 7 blind or 12 or 10, a couple short. So this could be very interesting. It's very compact today. Let's take a look at a hand from Adrian from Sunday here as a deeper stage, much deeper, 25K 50. I guess final table bubble must be with these stacks right here with 4, 6, so maybe 11 or 12 or 13 players left at this point. I would even guess 11 most likely because of some really big stacks. But Adrian with king queen suited in the big blind. Interesting, the chip leader here, Espelon on the button, who is going to be opening fairly wide, does have 2 tough players with healthy stacks in the blinds, but is maybe just respects. Okay, so he does just fold the small blind now. Adrian with king queen suited, and they have about the same stack, fairly deep. What do you like here? You like just coming out raising, or do you sometimes implement just a limp only strategy, or is this just too good a hand?
How many left? Is this 2 tables left? Yeah,
I think probably 11 or 12 left. Yep.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, I think it's a hand. Both does very well, right? It's like one of those spots where you don't really love raise calling it for certain amounts, but especially when your opponent has these polarized 3-betting ranges, then it becomes a really good hand. You can call, it plays very well post flop, so you want to have both. You raise, you get in a lot of money against hands you dominate, and then when he 3-bets, you can still continue. So those are the dream spots. So yeah, I'd raise most of the time, and then here he c-bets flop, I think 2/3 if I saw correctly. Makes a lot of sense. Very clean outs, king or queen, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw, and now is an interesting card where I think check fold is viable, but I also really like half pot. Yeah, and he goes for half pot. I quite like that, because there's lots of folds we can generate. Also, I mean, sometimes we're drawing dead, but we have fold equity and we have some equity against hands that continue. So yeah, I think it's fine to bear.
Very cool. Another, again, high-level stuff, another tough player in the big blind there, and just attacking, going for it, understanding what he's got, what turns he's going to do what with, and executes flawlessly and gets it done. All right, our chip leader, we just saw fold a button. Espelon, someone we're not going to have much info on. 30 appearances and unknown here, 2 final tables. Chip leader today, big spot for him. Highest finish 4th place in the GGMillion. Fedor, tell me, play with him online?
I don't know his name. I have not played with him.
Okay, so let's see a hand. What else are we going to do? We're going to learn now. Let's go see a hand from Sunday. Espelon is the leader, and this is early stages again, kind of fun. Get to see not just a big hand on the like deep. This is early on. Ace 5 suited, one that is
it's a special hand.
Yeah, we know this can end up being big, be aggressive and play. And another very tough player here in the big blind, Samuel, is gonna be the player participating in this hand and calls. And okay, a little bit. Flopping trips is nice. This is always interesting when you're opening a hand. You don't have many fives in your range. The big blind does have more. So this is kind of special when you get this type of situation. It's nice because you know the big blind may actually really attack and kind of rep what you actually have. So let's see if that is the case. Not super deep, but Sam does have started the hand with about 20 blinds.
Yeah, I mean, if this is the hand they picked, he would probably raise small.
Okay, so that is the case.
Always call.
All right, now does kind of complete sort of some kind of interesting card. You pick up the flush draw and you have essentially the nuts on the flop. But yeah, obviously happy with your hand still, although a little bit scary and never folding no matter what. Samuel is going to decide here what to do.
I mean, downsize generally. Now it's like basically a sizing that attacks 2 overcard type of hands, right? Like you can value bet some stuff, but also there's, I mean, 5x is very locked, right? If let's say Espelon has like ace king or ace queen or king queen or whatever, and you have 5-6, I mean, he's basically drawing dead, right? So it's a sizing that lets you play a 3-street game basically, and so now he has 50% of the pot left, and interesting, he decides to check, which could be, you know, like 7x here, could be some traps, because, you know, Espelon still should have misdraws like Jack 10 of hearts, for example, or something like that, which now I have to say, you know, this is a, I would say, quite underbluffed spot. Like, you would want to see people turning hands like ace queen or whatever just into a bluff, and I think that might, you know, you have to, like, this is a player type spot where some people always bluff here and some people rarely get there with hands that they then bluff. So not a beautiful spot to be in if you have like 6-7 of hearts or whatever, and or like, you know, queen 7 of diamonds or something like this. So yeah, without information, it's really not fun. I mean, I guess he calls after tanking, otherwise this wouldn't be the highlight, but I'm curious.
What do you think Samuel has? Do you think that's what it's like a 7x, just kind of like that? It's like king 7.
Yeah, I mean,
7.
I think it's very often a 7 or a 9. Like, I think it's kind of in the spot where these are the hands you probably think with the longest.
Yeah, you could have like 8-9, some kind of 9 that just like was in the flop, and then he
there could, you know, let's say a 6-9 offsuit or a 6-9 of diamonds, or or something like that. I mean, in that sense, right? It's all the same. It doesn't really matter. I mean, Espelon has like 10s plus, and that's
he basically has a gut shot that makes a pair, and on the flop check raised, and then decided to hear it off. Well, listen, we are going to go right into the betting odds, Fedor. This is something you've done before. I don't need to explain. 100 units. I'm going to let you choose first. Break it up into 3. We'll put a dinner on it. See if we can get one of the winners. Let you go first.
You're gonna. How do we do this? You're gonna owe me like 5-6 dinners.
I will. Michelin. We're adding stars for the.
Okay. So for the second star, I'm gonna take. Let me see. Who do I want here? Okay, I have my picks. So I want Adrian Mateos for 40 units, please.
40, good selection. I would have laid 15 to 1. You were gonna take Adrian. That's a nice pick. I'm gonna go with Vogelsang. I just feel like Christoph, he sees you, he's motivated. You're number 1 all time. He wants to play his best today. He wants to get his first GGMillion title. I'll take 40 on Christoph.
I like that. I mean, because I've been talking about him, I will take Johannes for let me see, for 40.
Okay, so that'll leave you a 20. I'll go Kiat Lee, man. I like the guy. I play with him numerous times. He's fun. I feel like he's gonna get it. He might just get it done today. 30 there. Last pick for you, Fedor.
20 on Jans.
All right, nice. I was gonna pick him as well. I'll go 30 with I gotta go chip leader, man. He's available. It's kind of disrespectful. I can't not pick him. He's the favorite, 4.34 to 1. That'll be my last pick. That's what we got. That's what's going down. We are going to play to a winner. No deal making available. We each have our 3 picks, and we will take a very short 5-minute break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. We'll see you in a bit. Fedor Holz has joined us, and we're going to see some excellent poker today. Can't wait. See you guys back in 5 minutes. Welcome back from a short break. We've got, again, Fedor Holz, the top 10 all-time money list earner, almost 50 million in live earnings, joining us. We are going to be playing to a winner, and we are going to see some of the best in the world. Adrian Mateos, Christoph Vogelsang, so many other talented players, and we're going to get to see the seat selection here, which is always fun. Fedor, I asked you before, but have you thought more about this? Do you think what percent advantage do you think it is to be, give us a little insight on what it is to be last to select here versus first? And is there anything you can do as the first player to sort of anticipate where you want to go?
I mean, the little kind of starting ground has to be the button, right? Like that's
Yeah.
slightly better, I guess, to be on the button. But then the main thing is going to be position. And I would think that it's actually, there's obviously some GTO around just stack sizes, where like, okay, you want to have position to be able to bully as much as possible, right? But I would probably make it most dependent on play style. So if I think someone, is very aggressive, I would rather be in position against that player. And so in this case, I would love to have position on Adrian, for example. So if I can, I would try that. And then if he has more chips, I try to seat in a setting where I think that he's least likely to choose position on me. So like in this particular case, that would be my strat.
And you're speaking from the perspective of the chip leader, the person that you get to go last. But what about if you're the first, the ninth place stack? Is there really anything you can do, or do you just put yourself in a button and hope to not get shuffled to a bad spot?
I mean, it's kind of difficult, right? Because you have to anticipate. I actually don't know what, perfect strategy is there, like, what to anticipate. I think actually one thing you should take into consideration is that maybe someone times out, and doesn't click a seat. So probably, I don't know. I actually don't know what the best is if you go first or second. I haven't really thought much about that. I try to go last in these spots,
Well, it did work out pretty well for Adrian here as he sees Espelon go a bit away from him, and he's also direct left of Christoph, and he has position with Kiat and Johan. So I'd say Adrian looking pretty good for his seat. Things just seem to break his way, creates his own luck, and you can see the chess clock. It's based on an M calculation, as 15 minutes is sort of the baseline. Everyone there started with a bit less, so we can see now where that is, and everyone pretty healthy clock at the moment. And I would just guess this is going to be in for the long haul today. I just have a feeling with the no real short stacks, 25 blinds, it sort of sets up more like a shootout, right? It's a little tighter, more consolidated, ICM more prevalent. And I just think we're going to see, depending how chips break early, this could be a very methodical final table, as would be my guess. But again, welcome everyone. Thank you for watching. Let us know where you're watching from. Must be subscribed, must hit the thumbs up to win one of the $3 $50 GG ticket giveaways. I will put up on Twitter here momentarily a $50 cash out of my pocket. So we'll have $200 total in earnings that are going to be for giveaways that we can give. And we saw what Marcelo Aziz did in the Bahamas, Fedor, from a GG free roll ticket, took 4.6 million, been a guest on the show as well. And we have a banger to start here. Ace Jack to tens turns a set, although it was already in the lead, and possible flush here. Everything so far standard in this hand for you?
Yeah, I mean, he checked flop, right?
I believe so. I'm sorry. I'm queuing up giveaways. I'm getting situated.
You're a busy man. No, I think that's what happened. I think it was open, defend, and then check. Yeah, I think that is very reasonable. It's one of those things you see, I think earlier there used to be a time where, whenever you open, you also see that it's not really the case anymore. And particularly when, there's some pressure on you, and in this case, it's exactly like that, where Jans is going to have, suited aces, medium pairs, and there's not really that much incentive anymore to bet thin, So when you don't want to do that anymore, then you start checking a bit more. And so suddenly your hands like tens even, might check the flop, and obviously you would protect that a little bit. So we see more checking, and then, Christoph bets, and you don't really have a good hand to continue. Now in the next hand, save people, they try again.
Yeah, pretty good flop for ace five suited here. Actually gonna go ahead and he's got the gut shot backdoor flush draw over here and a flat in the small blind. Christoph's hand going to be sort of, he's in the higher end of his flatting range, but of course we'll have pairs, have some suited broadways. Ace five suited going to go ahead and take a crack at it here for a third pot.
Yeah, and I think that has to be in his check raising range a fair amount. I mean, he goes for the check call, which is fine, but I prefer raise flop, I think. And especially with jack of hearts, I think it just is quite high equity hand. It's 30 bigs, but I still think it's one of those spots you just gotta run with it. But check call, obviously, not a blunder at any means.
Jacks now run out as played. Queen there. Gotta feel how much different is it if it goes queen, 7 here, or like a 7 of diamonds versus the queen when you have jacks. I mean, you got to feel a lot better when they're running queens, that your opponent probably doesn't have a queen and you feel good. But what is Christoph debating between size wise here?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a spot you basically can choose between small sizing and check. And I think, very, very basic thoughts should be like, okay, if I check, how often is he bluffing, right? Whether it's like, is he value, like, and then for Jan's kind of, it's the mirrored thoughts of like, if he has a hand like he has, ace 4, ace 5 suited, or maybe even, king jack of spades that he checked back, or maybe ace king no heart or something like this that he didn't bet on turn, like what sizing are you choosing? And I think, it's one of those spots where you probably just want to choose to value bet a hand like 10x, if you have ace 10, king 10, as weak as jack 10, which you see bet on flop, then you probably don't want to go for a crazy sizing, right? It's basically the sizing I think he chose. And I think Vogelsang check is nice because I think that Jans will value bet a 10. And that's what you get value from, right? Like there's not really that much else you get value from except a 10, and he's going to probably bet that himself. So I quite like the check on the river. I think that's something a lot of people don't find.
Yeah, well done, well played. And the difference there to bet, if he had bet small, do you think he would have been a similar result? Is that a hand he might have taken in and shot up, or would it have just maybe been even a fold if he had bet there? And do you think that he would have gone for it? To raise?
The raise, you mean?
Yeah, if he block bet the river.
No, I think it's not the type of hand you want to raise there.
Okay, so really,
Yeah,
so again, excellent recognition. Sort of that's something I think the audience at home to keep in perspective. Exactly that. What are you trying to accomplish? What are the value hands on the river where a spot like that? Do you get someone to go to actually bet and where more likely they have a bluff as well? And then you also get the pot control element in. And Christoph sort of textbook got the max as it seems played out from as Fedor's explaining, and makes a lot of sense. So nicely played hand from Christoph. Pretty good start for him. Things breaking out well, and Jan's down to 1 million. Yeah, this is a lot of chips in play. That is a bit to do with the more entries, right? This is a lot for typical. This isn't a special edition show, and it's close to 400,000, over 385,000 the first. So that's a healthy payout today, and a lot of chips in play and some pretty even stacks along the way. No one really short. Ihar now and Jans with about 1 million, 1.2, and it's wide open though. Wide open. 4-8 makes the straight. John all of a sudden with a bit of a tough spot against the chip leader who definitely could probe. Doesn't have to have a 4 here.
Yeah, call. I mean, that's kind of an ugly spot to be in. I don't really like the check back, I have to say. Oh, this is interesting though. I mean, I feel, for Espelon with sizing and timing, I feel that's always value if I'd be in John. I mean, now I see the hand, but if I'm in John's shoes, it just doesn't feel like this is the spot where you bluff here without kind of thinking about it. It just feels more like you have exactly the hand you have, like 4 or ace 5, ace 3, something like that. And that is the very clear value bet on a river, right? You don't want to bet too big. You just kind of want to get value from ace X. And I think I was about to say, I think when I recognized that, my thoughts, in this particular spot is only, do I fold or do I raise large? And I don't particularly love the sizing by John here. I think if I raise with this particular hand, I want to go bigger. Because I just want to generate more fold equity. I think, with sizing and timing, I mean, this is very exploitative now, but with sizing and timing, I think that is basically very often a hand like this. So I'm only facing a value range, right? Like I'm only facing 2 pair and a straight. And against that, I want to represent a flush and generate as much fold equity as possible for the risk I'm taking. So I think a raise to 850 or 900 or whatever, I think risking 900 to win 600, I think he will lean more towards kind of always folding his hand. Whereas if I raise to 600, I think there's a fair good chance that against that he just calls 4x. But in this case, it worked out extremely well. He folded his 4, and I was proven wrong.
I got to say that's an impressive hand though from John. I mean, nice, really, really nice to recognize what's going on there and take a key diamond and make it turn his hand into a bluff and actually got a hand as strong to a 4. Do you think he's anticipating to get a 4 to fold there? Does that mean, is he targeting even that or try to make a 2 pair, or is that kind of just like either a polarized spot he has the flush or not, and it doesn't really matter? I mean, do you think that he's thinking he can get a 4 to fold?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what he identified. Very similar, I think, to what I shared is, I think, timing, sizing, you're just like, this is 2 pair straight. And I think that's like, he identified that quickly because he also raised kind of quickly. And so, yeah, I think there was no real, I don't think it was really considering call very much.
Yep. Yeah, interesting hand. At home, if you're taking notes, high level stuff to start. We've already seen some good action here. Ace 10, ace jack. Ace jack has the best hand. Ace 10 with the key card and a 10 as well. So he has got himself a good spot. And what is Johannes? How does this differ if he has like ace with the 9 instead of the 10? And so now he actually has showdown and he has a key card. Is he less incentivized to sort of need to bluff? He just wants to check here. Starts
you mean
out.
in Johannes' shoes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's one of those spots where kind of what you have to think there is, how do different cards change your hand, right? Like you have very good equity, but generally when you have an ace of clubs in this position, it's like, okay, if the clubs comes, you have the nuts, but if there's no club, you have ace high, and then, it's like not that great of a hand. And so when you have ace of clubs and a pair, that changes that scenario where, oh, if no club comes, at least you have a pair. So generally, these type of hands function kind of well to play in a more passive line, right? Because you're like, you have a weapon for both scenarios. You have a very strong hand for when the club hits, and you protect it in that regard. But then you also have like a kind of medium strong hand when the club doesn't hit, which in this case happened. And unfortunately for Johannes Christoph, rivered the straight. And now this is a very ugly scenario, because this is, I think, the spot where Johannes should turn his hand into a bluff.
This is actually a crazy. That is such a crazy river card. The non-club queen, right? It's so specific. It's wild that he goes from like showdown value winner to now maybe exactly having to turn his hand to a bluff, and he's going into like the literal nutted hand, the ace jack off that makes the Broadway here. So it's not like even 2 pair or whatever. It's wildly exciting, and Johannes is probably gearing up here, taking a deep breath before gonna do something creative. And what about Christoph? I mean, what's the cutoff on size? Can he call? Can he not? I mean, this is a pretty intense river.
I mean, it's very interesting because it's one of those spots where Christoph, like, it's actually very interesting. Like Johannes in this type of spot, I think that a pretty strong strategy when you have these polarized bets is something less than all in. Just because the value of what you gain versus what you lose is like, in these type of final table scenarios, it just goes so far apart, right? Like let's say you leave 800k behind, like the value of those 800k versus winning these 800k more from like 5 point a little bit million to like, 5.8 million, is such a big difference. And in this case, probably, the raise size would have been like biggest possible non-all-in. So you maybe raise to like, 1.8, 1.9 million or whatever.
Yep.
And in Christoph's shoes, and I think that's kind of what I'm estimating what happened here is I think Johannes identified that spot, and I think he kind of made an adjustment based on who he's playing against, because something like Ace Jack, which Christoph sized up, he was like B80 or B85 or something, so like bet 85% of the pot. Yeah, that's kind of polarized, strong hand or bluff, and yeah, can be tricky to raise this big into someone where he maybe thinks doesn't fold Ace Jack. So I think he decided against it. And we have the next. I mean, it's a fast-paced game. We have the next hand already. John against Kiat, and Kiat flopped top 2, but John has turned the flush, the baby flush, and now I'm curious how this hand plays out.
Yeah, it was a super interesting hand. I'm getting the tweet ready, everyone, on Jeff Gross Poker. Going to get that out, and we will have a shot at $50 cash. This is going to be, it's going to be an exciting one. Like I said, get your coffee, get the tea out. It's going to be likely a long final table, although you never know. Just feel like the stack sizes with starting out 25 blinds are shortest, going to make it for a little more gradual start. And as the blinds get up, it always works out though, right? Fedor, final tables either kind of start really fast and slow down, or start slow and then gets fast. It's generally how it goes. This is going to be an interesting hand here as King Queen does make a boat.
That is the best possible river.
Yeah, I think it's when the great minds, these guys are all so tough that it's just interesting. The reading ability is so important to actually put your opponent on their what they have, because you can then dictate the size accordingly. And I think there is a big difference even at the highest level, to know really who's great at putting your opponent on what they actually have, and then knowing how to exploit that. Although these guys are mostly very strong professionals, he is going to go and does get the full ace-4, getting the, didn't think too long about that one.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very interesting one as well, because I think that sizing, it's like it can be so tough sometimes to play against these small sizings. Someone bets 1/3, you maybe weren't ready to like check raise enough here in these type of spots, and then now suddenly you just have to call. You just have to be right, like 25% of the time or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's not really fun. And sometimes you have to call, but you also feel like they always have it. It's like one of these ugly spots to be in. But he decided quickly, and maybe that's just trust your gut, play quick, and hopefully it's right.
Yeah, takes it down. Jan's important pot. He's sort of on the chopping block. Him and Ihar are the shorter stacks, and nothing really changed. That's how it started the day. And it's King 5 here for Kia Lee. And he's thinking.
Potentially raising, but decides for a call. And gets the setup.
Yeah, not the best flop there. It does flop fairly strong. It's against a chip leader. Goes for a big size.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. It just starts out where, you come in, you defend one extra blind, what can go wrong? And then you talk yourself into one of those sort of like no set, no bet situations. You start out, oh, I'm just going to call if I don't flop a set. I'm not going to play a big pot. And then you get a board that you like, and it's a little dicey. Although it does go check, check. And this is pretty scary for both players here. 4 hearts come out.
Now the part is whether Kia turns his hand into a bluff. I mean, probably doesn't have to, but could think about it.
Yep.
It's one of those spots where I kind of like the consideration. Because I do think, even though technically it's probably not a bet, I still like the thought of it.
Yep. Exactly. That is well said. Over 100 of you have hit the thumbs up. Appreciate that. 1650 on at the moment. We're going to be playing to a winner, and the tweet is out. I'll get that link for you in the chat, but you can go to Jeff Gross Poker. I tag Crown Up Guy. He's eligible for the $50 giveaway as well. If he wins it, we'll probably redo it and give another one, but that is what is at stake here. And we are also going to be doing three $50 GG tickets from just the keyword at the end of the stream. So be ready for that as we see. Fedor, I asked you this. I know you've been on my podcast as well. It's been a while and we've talked about this, but your actual start to poker, remind those watching today. Was it a free roll? Was it a small deposit? What year was it? And what was your first ever entrance into the poker world for any type of money?
I mean, entrance was home game with friends, 1 cent, 2 cents. I lost like $40 there, I think. So like
you were
20
blasting.
buy-ins. I got absolutely felted. And then played online 2011, deposited probably like 2011, 12, deposited maybe 1K total, so like 50, 50, 50, 50. And then what happened then? I think maybe like 3K was down, like maybe 2.5, 3K total, and then started winning. So that was my journey.
Very cool. All right, anyone? This is a not one of those things have changed, right, in the landscape of the world now. It's like I always say this. That's one of the biggest thing I like to tell people at home is it's different when you do. How old were you when you what was that, like you were 16, 15, 17?
I started playing at like 16, and then basically when I turned 18, I played more serious.
Yeah, I just don't want to go on a rant again about this, but that's the one thing I will say. If you're watching at home, you got kids, you're married, or you're older, right? Like it's one thing. I similar age as you. I started, and it's very little risk. You're not really putting much into play because you don't have much, right? You're just starting out with free rolls. There's low deposits and building and learning from that stance. If you're in your mid 30s or 40s and you start like, oh, okay, I don't want to play 1 cent, 2 cent, or 25 cent, 50, and you just want to like dive into a larger game, that's a little more dangerous because you're learning and it can be more expensive. So just preface that, not to mention a lot more information today. Shout out the poker code. There's a lot of courses, I've done as well. Like there's a lot of information, and if you're just going in blind, you can be in trouble here. As Ace King though, going to get to pick up a nice non-showdown addition to his stack there from Jan. So, but yeah, that is again, just the climate has changed. I don't know how it's how the micros are, but I imagine poker does seem like it's booming in a bit. The numbers would suggest that live poker's up, online's kind of up, records being set, series popping up. It does seem plentiful, but I just don't know how would you say, because you deal with poker code and sort of beginners coming in, what would be your take on the current landscape of the market?
I mean, I feel like live poker is massively booming. And online poker, I think, is kind of tricky, right? It's like the golden times, like when basically everyone was a recreational. And I think that is different now. Like, I still think, there's lots of traffic, there's like new players coming in, but like, of course, it's different when like now suddenly, like millions and millions of people flow into the game and start playing and nobody knows what's going on. That's not the case anymore. But I feel, it's a environment that's more mature, is still growing, but like it's obviously more mature than it was back then. So now I feel like we just see more mature growth, and that's a different environment.
Yeah, that's a great point. 6-7 here, going to go for the bluff Jack 3 high. PLO player. Considering, oh, I'm sorry, not Jack 3 high. That's a mistake. He did hit the straight. Would have been an impressive call, but that is the wheelbarrow. So not much to think about there. He's going to call, and nice hand. My mistake. He did have a straight. So good hand, good call, and not as impressive as Jack high, but still gets it done. Takes it down.
I mean, he should have probably raised river, but he just thought probably it's that polarized that he doesn't have to. But I think he should have probably.
All right, that link is officially up. That is up. So that is 450 cash. You can retweet. Guess who wins? I don't know. So far, Vogel saying I'm liking my pick. He's off to a good start. He is chip leader again. Tough seat. Well, Mateos on his direct left and has gotten a few good breakouts. Going to open the King Jack offsuit. Also reversed hand there for the big blind RR with the exact same hand, just reverse suit. So that's something you don't see all the time. A little bit unique here. Be a good PLO hand. Double suited Kings and Jacks, and both players with a gut shot here. And for Vogel saying pretty nice, right? Have position and covering. This is one of those things in poker examples where likely you're going to get to see why that is so important.
Yeah, I mean, you'd see a small bet here, and then now it's getting already close for Euro to continue.
And does the ace turn? Is this a good spot to bet, or do you want to check it back? I mean, what are you beating here? Jack 10, same hand, 10, 10, 8, the 9 or queen. So you put a lot of pressure on a 9. Queen may not fold, but he does go big and take it down.
Yeah, I mean, not sure how that plays out over the long run. I mean, it definitely worked in this case. But yeah, also I think kind of the plus is you don't have to risk too much, right? Like there's quite some hands that just auto fold. Like also continuing with a 9. Basically, I think he folds almost all 9s and then has to start selecting queens already because you're basically drawing dead. It's like if you're up against an ace, you put in chips dead, and yeah, it's a spot that you cannot just defend ace x. You have to pull from queen x, and so the half pot size is probably the sweet spot.
Ace Jack. Not much for Johannes here. Ace 3, though. This is one we do see players sort of folding or 3-betting against that position. In his stack, he does give it up. And what is your in that exact spot with Ace 3 off? Do you like folding, or would be your deciding factor to maybe even 3-bet turn into a bluff? What's the cutoff? Is it player dependent? And obviously, there's a lot of factors, but what are something you look at specifically there?
I would say one of the main things I look at is what do I think his opening range looks like, right? Because that's kind of the starting point, whether it's kind of also impacted by whether a player leans more passive or aggressive, but already like, okay, if Jans has, like 1.8 million and like isn't maybe covered, doesn't get 3-bet that often, it's very different than if he gets covered and like maybe under some pressure, he's going to open tighter. And that has quite big impact, right? So opening range, and then kind of take that in combination with player tendency. So if I think, someone is opening rather tight and is on a tendency where he's going to make sure he's not overfolding, then it's not really the spot to go after too much. So you got to be quite selective against players like that.
All right. And officially the giveaway's up. I'm back dialed, locked in for you guys fully. We did miss Kiat just opened aces, casually flop quads, by the way. So that was nice. He did get the quad aces. We're caught up here as we see ace, queen, and 8-10. And the giveaway's out. Everything's good. We are good to go. Ace, queen, 8-10, and a bet here, blind on blind. Gonna just be a no decision from Christoph. All right. Blinds up 30-60, no blood. Haven't really seen much all-ins. And again, to be expected, there hasn't been a ton, just no one super short now at 30-60. iHeart is our shortest with 850K. Kiat here on the button with 10s. Not too much to tangle with, but Adrian, they're deep. He's going to like 5-7 suited here. It's a piece. And okay flop for Kiat. There's that jack over, 2 clubs, doesn't have a club. I think it's an above solid, decent flop. He is going to go big here. This is wouldn't have expected this size.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not really a size, but it's one of those spots. I think the logic is kind of clear. It's one of those spots where you it's probably kind of the hand to do that with in this category of hands, probably more pocket eights. Where you kind of value bet once large against 6x or 7x, that then will also check it down, right? So like very often you get basically one bet in, you check, and then 6x or 7x, there's not that many runouts where they have to turn it into a bluff. So you just basically check it down against these type of holdings. And you get in a bigger bet size basically against those type of hands. And Jack 6-7, it's one of those boards where it's quite dynamic. Lots of things can change. There's also quite some hands that have a higher, let's say, higher potential, higher equity of what type of hands they can make. Lots of gut shots or backdoor draws, and very hard to have a hand that has absolutely nothing. So upsizing with certain hands makes sense, but I think tens is like one of those hands that kind of that group of hands wants to do that the least. So
he did get blown off it. As it turned out, Adrian really made a nice bet on the river there and put a huge bet and got tens to snap fold. So one of the problems of that is when you do get called, if you get, that other scenario, it doesn't mean you just get to go to showdown versus that 7x or 6x on the river, and Adrian punished there. So interesting hand, and tens going to flatten out ace queen and tens. And what about your cutoff here? What's your determining factor? This is something I feel like players are playing more tight, closing the action. It looks like not a big deal to just put that extra blind in, and players fold there. What would you 7-8 suited? What are you calling with Jans? What's the bottom hand off the just thought process wise? If you had to take a quick look there, what would you call with the complete?
I mean, that's a tough one generally there, because again, I think the main thing to think about here is Kiat should be opening quite tight, right? Like two shorter stacks, 10 on the turn. So we look at a tight range from Kiat, and that is the deciding factor. Against a tighter range, Christoph also has to play a bit more cautious, and then 7-8 off of like 20 bigs just becomes much worse, right? So you play actually quite tight range here out of position against 2. And that is like really unfortunate for Christoph.
And because some of the flush cards there with the 10, the king, I see he's just thinking too, there's not many flushes, right? I mean, he's got to be feeling pretty good about his hand here. He has a set, although
he's going to think very hard here about a value bet. Because Kiat shouldn't really have that much 9x, right? It's like, I think kind of the most common hand he should have here is like king 9, maybe jack 9, maybe. Could obviously have something with the 9 of hearts, but it's unlikely, so it's like I feel a value bet here makes sense. But to be honest, this is also one of those spots where I quite like to fast play Kiat's hand on the turn. Just because I feel like Christoph basically never has a flush, or I mean, he can, but it's just very often a hand like 10s, jack 10, king 10 suited, or offsuit even. So, but yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, the more likely your opponent is to bluff, the more you want to check call, and the more you feel like he's on the value heavy side, the more you want to check raise. So. Ace-8 off, interesting. Difficult spot, but probably a defend.
Yeah, that's interesting. It tens and ace jack Kiat now with looking at under the gun for Ihar and probably feeling he's going to be pretty strong. Makes a disciplined ace jack fold. Was a flip situation, but he does get out of the way. And now Espelon, who's been fairly quiet as chip leader, haven't seen him get too out of line. We did see him an interesting hand fold the straight where the diamond rivered, and John made a nice sort of turned a showdown hand into a bluff. Aces for the second time here. Passed out. A PLO player with aces on the button. He's thinking, man, PLO, it's more fun. You get more hands here. He's got himself a nice spot. And Adrian with king, queen off, definitely a hand that could 3-bet. Although it's against Kiat, who has a good stack, early-ish position, respects it, and now aces get to get the dream, get to have aces on the button with the raise in front of you.
Yeah, that's sweet. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Kiat getting attacked here, and suited ace.
I mean, suited ace, you cover him. What will he do? Disciplined fold.
Yep, queen 6, ace 9, deuce 7. Not too many quality hands. We really haven't seen a collision yet with really, really big hands. We've seen a couple decent, strong strength.
Some post-flop setups.
Yeah, some kind of interesting runouts. But again, the stack size just not allowing really the money to go all in. We're still 9-handed about, let's see, 40 minutes in. Not much, just sort of jockeying for who's going to break out into position. Ihar and Jan's a little shorter. That's how it started. Really not much changed. Pretty straightforward so far. We are going to see a little more action here as the blinds are 30-60. You can see upper left, 14 hands will increase. So that's every 20 hands. Also lower left, see the payouts there. And again, no deal making available. Ace-6 suited jacks. All right. Button, small blind.
Also a hand to potentially just open jam on a button.
Yeah, it's at 33, 34 blinds, 30-60, button open, cut the short stack less than 20 blinds, even much less than that. Gonna make
Yeah, he has like, I think 14 blinds. So like, I think ace-6 suited from the button there, you can probably just open jam. But now it's interesting. I mean, I'm curious to see now what he does.
Very inviting raise. Does get out of the way. Gets out of the way. John picks it up. 2.3 million for him, 30-60K level. Again, let us know where in the world you're watching from. We have had some interesting hands, some big hands. We saw quad aces flop from Kiat. Kiat now up to 2.6 million, and very, very tough. There's nowhere to look around where there's not a big name here. Really, everyone here we know well. Espelon, our chip leader, someone we don't know as well. And he has been playing solid so far. Ace-6 suited, king, jack, and eights. King, jack, get out of the way. Kiat with eights here in the big blind. Gonna call. Ace-6 suited, has backdoor hearts, ace high, eight still in the lead. Colombia in the building, Cyprus, Iran. We got Scotland. A lot of we're saying some chat pros. Yeah, we see. Listen, hey, it's great to everyone make their opinion and analysis. It's fun. That's why poker is great. More than one way to play hands. Eights here. Hang on as a 9 comes on the turn. Does Jans want to keep betting here?
I mean, technically it doesn't interfere too much, but the ace of hearts does a little bit, right? Like, could have a hand like ace 10 of hearts that then folds, so it's not the perfect hand, you know? You'd rather want to have something like ace 5 of diamonds or whatever. But definitely something to consider, and I think this is an interesting spot because I could definitely see this bet call. But he will just check it back.
Yeah, another pot going Kiat's way up almost to 3 million. Jan's at 1 million. And 30-60 will continue along. Couple nines lurking in the big blinds. And Adrian could be playing a lot of tables. Could be thinking about raising king 4 suited under the gun 9-handed. Hello. That is a little bit wide. Are you opening that, Fedor? King 4 suited with your stack and in this spot, insert yourself, or is this pushing it a little?
I mean, it's a suited king, you know? It's a beautiful hand.
Wow.
But it's a tough hand if your opponent flops top set.
That is tough. And king 4 suited, though, on this board against Christoph, who's going to be peeling pretty wide, do you even, with no backdoor, do you really try to barrel your way out, or is this just maybe a white flag? Not going to be the one. I think that's a good check. Obviously, we see top set.
I like that. Yeah.
Either way,
I mean,
right?
I think it's one of those spots where it's a board that, especially when you have a hand, you know, it's basically. I think it functions very well in delayed lines. You know, you basically whether it goes check 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 check, you know, and then you can turn your hand into a bluff, and it's just fine to fold to a bet on the turn. So I think that's a good strategy there. I think it's also important to know when you have to give up, right? Like that's one of those spots. Now this, the king 5 offsuit, you know, it's one of those hands that you could also potentially get spicy with.
King 5 is not looking great here on this board. John with aces, 6-6, queen, deuce, 2 hearts. Doesn't put more money in here. And John on a pretty good board for aces, queen 6-6, deuce, 2 hearts, has the ace of hearts. Going to go ahead and bet. And Adrian, not can't imagine too much to
Not
think
snap
about.
folding.
Yeah, never. Yeah, exactly. As you mentioned, loves the game, always trying to find a way to win pots. Does think about something, but doesn't act. And ace king now for Kiat and Adrian with strong holding, cut off for small blind, about 3 million a piece here.
Fairly reasonable to flat. And I think we'll see Jans with the overcall here. Although his hand is very reasonable also as a jam, but it depends. I think this one depends a lot on particularly also how he thinks Adrian flats and what he 3-bets. Because you know, that's something that exploitatively can get good quite fast if you think small blind flats too weak. You know, then you maybe get a bit more folds than you're supposed to, and then suddenly Jack 9 suited actually does pretty well as a jam. But I think call is the kind of the standard play here. Interesting lead by Adrian. I don't think that will get a fold.
Does have the ace of hearts.
Yeah.
And 9 diamond turn. Is that
this can get a really interesting hand.
With the intention of maybe betting, and if a diamond or heart comes, to go for it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see it, but oh yeah. I mean, I think this is a spot where he will put in more chips. I don't think this will be a check fold.
You think he's gonna? You see him leading here, or maybe check raising or getting creative here on the king of diamond boards paired, got called. He is going to go big, and
I think
this
big
size
bets.
just going to get called. I mean, Kiat has the perfect, he has ace of diamonds, he has the king, can never fold and not going to raise. So yeah, just going to call, and that's a bit unlucky for the particular holding that Kiat has, but we can see Adrian being creative. Yeah. And Kiat 4 million, 3.9 million. Adrian down to 2. No knockouts yet. Hope you're enjoying. Again, Fedor Holz, almost 50 million lifetime earnings. Several players here with those type of numbers. We've got 52 million in earnings from Adrian Mateos live. Christoph Vogel saying almost 40 million in earnings live. A lot of impressive resumes online. Kiat over 14 million. Jans Aaron's one of the top players in the world as well. Johan Strava in amazing form. John Proudfit showing us the ability to go for it, mix it up. He is also someone who plays live and online. Ihar over 4 million in earnings live. Espelon kind of our unknown. Gavin, more of a PLO player. Got aces on the button. He hasn't really gotten to do too much, right? He had a straight, just called on the river, blind on blind, as you mentioned, maybe just too polarizing. Figure not really a point to raise there. And overall, everyone seems to be playing pretty well right now. Pretty solid. Not too much things to note of anything out of line, which is not the case often on the GGMillion. So we have a very wild player or two so far today, very much in line. People are being pretty obedient. Couple of bluffs, but
we have seen a little, no, it's not boring. It's just
no, for sure.
There's definitely some spicy stuff going on. Oh, yeah, this is
that's another one. Another interesting interaction where both players can hold them. So hard to make a pair or a draw here. Both players kind of wrapped on the board, and some interesting ones could come out. Definitely, there are some key cards.
9 on the turn seems like the
yes,
like 9 on the river maybe. Like
yeah, we could see a lot of chips go into the pot here as ace-7 suited looks very strong, although 9s is important cards to take away from what he needs. But hey, let's see, can Kiat maybe get aggressive?
Yeah, it seems like a spot you want to raise. Yeah, and that is not a nice spot for 9s to be in. I mean, to be honest, against Kiat in this particular spot, I'm just folding.
Right. The problem is, it's like you call, you think you might have a hand such as this with the overs and a flush draw or something like that. You don't, king, queen suited or whatever it is. It just, you're guessing. He's also a player not really afraid. So you're going to get, it's not just like, okay, you call and then let's check it down. That's the problem. The SPR starts getting aces again. Kiat's got the sauce thing. Jans actually has a tough hand, and Vogel saying likely going to flat how deep they are in the position of the open. And this could just go jam, call. Christoph gets out of the way, and you see Kiat trying to cross the 5 million mark. And that is sort of how it shaked out.
Don't see any queens.
Don't see any queens burn. So it does have life. It is going to be likely a 4-1 all in for close to a 2 million chip pot. Some extra money in the middle there.
Yeah, but one of these moments when you just know it's the Kiat show. It's just, it's like you just know it's like this is not an 80-20. This is like 94-6 feels like.
And Jans has to feel good. It is 9-handed. It is queens, but he's short. And also Kiat, who's going to open wide, and also the chip leader. You just don't want to believe it. And Christoph going to say, okay, I like my hand. I really want to see a flop. This could have been fun, but this looks like a party of 2, and we will see it here. Jans needs a lady, or we will go down to 8-handed as a king arrives. King 4-4. Diamonds runners are live. Not going to be the case now. Needs a queen only, or will be 8-handed. River, slow peel, dealer, no paint, no luck. Jans Arons is out. And I believe your pick, I'm stacked up, Fedor. I'm trying to get some dinner credit back. This is Kiat and Christoph kind of climbing up here, as you've got Mateos. Who else do you have? Oh, I have Espelon too, man. I mean, we could talk buyout on the side.
You're crushing.
You want to message me? Yeah, this is looking pretty favorable terms, but we do see a knockout. And again, although it looks like it could be slow, this could shake out where Kiat gets moving and really just puts a lot of pressure on people. So far, one knockout, and we are about 50 minutes into the show. Again, hope you're enjoying. Special treat. Fedor joins us today. How was Triton? I didn't get to really talk to you about that yet. How was you were on just before and now after? How did your series go overall, and what was the takeaways from Jeju?
I won small. I had lots of deep runs. Was like one of those. I think I had 4 or 5 deep runs. I think my best was a fifth place in the 25K. So, it's one of those ones where I think I maybe had like 200K profit or something. With those big buy-ins, it's obviously, the swings can be huge. But yeah, very close calls, and hopefully next time I get another trophy.
Is I look at tournaments sort of like investments. Isn't it kind of funny? Because I know you do some investing and you're in the business world, and
Yeah.
it's like bet sizes. Like if you win at 25, or you get fifth in the 25, but if you get fifth in the 150, and how it works out. And in theory, it's kind of the same players, same things, and it's just kind of variants of that too. Like which tournament you run hot
Oh,
in and how it
of
goes. So it's
course.
a little crazy how that works.
Can be crazy for sure. I mean, I won the last 2 titles I won were in 15Ks. So, it's like buy-ins wise, I'm up heaps, but if you look at money, I'm not sure, if I'm up much. So, you play some of these 200Ks, 150Ks, main events, you play 2 bullets and the money's gone. It goes very quick. Check call, but a 6-8 suited against like 40% or so. And now that has to be a very good candidate for a lead. We block some 6-5 suited that might be in the opening range. Helps a little bit. And okay, he goes for the small lead, which will not shake off Adrian. But I guess, we're attacking something like ace-7 of diamonds or so. But to be honest, I don't like the very small size. Probably like slightly bigger sizing. But yeah, let's see what he cooks up on the river. I mean, this has to be a bluff, and this has to be a bluff for a large size, and Adrian has to be always folding unless he knows something specific. And because sevens is just such a bad hand to have here to bluff catch, it's like 7-8, 6-7, 7-10. It's just very, very bad hand.
Yeah, this would be if this is a big bet and a call, this would be a crazy exploit, a crazy,
Yeah.
crazy call. Like literally, like you mentioned, one of the worst hands to have to call. You'd rather have like, king, ace high, or wow.
Otherwise,
Okay, so that's
basically,
something.
basically, basically every hand is better.
Yeah. This, I,
Now,
he can't
that
call
is
the all
some
in.
that is some sizing, man.
That's a grown man bet. That's gonna get it
That is
done.
a big. That is. And I'm fairly certain Adrian looked at this and was like, "That feels like a bluff." There are these spots sometimes where you really like, it's a lot of chips, but this just doesn't feel like the sizing you would choose if you have 6-5 suited. And probably it isn't. Probably this is actually more. Maybe he splits his range even and has 2 sizings there on the river. I'm fairly certain there has to be. I mean, maybe even 3 sizings, like something smaller, something more in the range of 50-60% stack. And yeah, the all-in kind of makes sense when you cover, right? Like, I think he covered Adrian by like a few 100,000, so that's a bit different there, but it's still a very hefty bet. And obviously polarized between 5x and
Yeah,
uh,
pretty cool.
if the next hand already. Ace queen against tens. Very good flop for ace queen. This is one of those boards where I think, can size up quite a lot. I think John only went for like half pot-ish. But I think, it's very nice, like these kind of connected, but no nuts boards where there's no straight possible, but there's lots of like Jack 8, 10-8, Jack 10, King Jack, King 10, 7, 9, even those like 9, 10, so much stuff that has equity. And I think sizing up there is a very, very good strategy. And yeah, after checking turn, he has to raise river now. I think calling would be quite a mistake. So
it would be
I think
just
something
yeah,
600-ish, 7.
you're just so high up, the ace queen on that board with the particular hand and what you could even get called by. So yeah, let's see if he does go for that. He did make a nice bluff, turn his hand into a bluff,
Yeah.
and he does. He seems pretty locked in.
Yeah.
He's aligned with your stuff. The sizing you disagreed a little bit last time when he turned the bluff, but I think he's.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
it's I mean, that's what is interesting too, right? Like, it just sucks so much for out of position. You know, like it's one of those spots where, yeah, you know, it's like the bluffs are King Jack or you know, so it's just you just don't feel like a bluffing and good fallback yet.
And you mentioned about it is interesting to see on the rebuys. So today, actually, not a lot. Adrian Mateos rebought 3 times, Kiat Lee twice, and no one else rebought, which is sort of abnormal, I would think, from what I've seen. There's a lot of times people rebuy at least once or kind of get in and a little bit larger field size today too. And Espelin, there he is, the chip leader. We've seen a lot of this type of matchup with 2 overs versus a pair. Ihar though has a pretty good jam hand here.
Yeah.
And queen 10 suit, although it's pretty to call off, not so much. And Fedor, mystery hand time. The ace 10 of hearts from Adrian, your guy, your first pick today. It's an important one for him. If he goes down, I'm really liking my chances to see if he can rebound into a promising stack here, as we see nice 40% of a royal to start in the big blinds. Chat is on it today. They saw that quads. We were in the middle of the giveaway, which is on Twitter. I was a little bit distracted, missed that for a second. We do see the ace 10 of hearts mystery hand and Johannes versus Adrian. 2 powerhouses matching up. And Adrian here, gonna go ahead and call. Looks like a good flop. Ace king 4 rainbow with backdoor hearts, backdoor straight. And these are kind of tough, right? You could either be way good or way behind. You're covered by about double. And I think close your eyes and call here.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those spots where, you know, you want to consider check raising flop with your stronger hands, right? Like, probably you don't have ace queen because you go all in pre-flop. So it's like ace jack is prime candidate, and then you know, hands like king 4, and you should also consider ace 10, but you know, it's kind of on that fringe where like ace 9 you very often call, and like ace 10 you sometimes raise. And it looked a bit like he just pure calls it, which is also totally fine. And then on the turn, obviously now you have a very strong hand, you just never fold. And I'm kind of thinking about, you know, what should happen on river for me to fold. It just feels like you don't. Like so much in the middle. And yeah, let's see what happens. But
okay, well, run out, not improving, doesn't make the nut flush, doesn't make 2 pair. And this is a very interesting mystery hand, as you are potentially getting put to the test if it's going to be a big bet or all in here. Don't envy that spot. Pretty tough if that's the case, as it is a mystery hand. I think we are going to likely see a big ask out of Adrian here. We did see Johannes just rip it in with 8-6 for all of it, over bet all in, and they just had this sort of big pot river. He thought about it. Let's see if that's going to be the case, and let's just assume he does bet. Okay, puts them all in here. We're gonna go.
I mean, the thing is, you know, I think from Adrian's shoes, I think the thing that's kind of really sucks is there are not that many natural bluffs, because you know, because of the stack distribution. And I think that is really like a very deciding factor here. Is it's like there aren't these like even 5-6 suited, you know, it's not that great to open from the cutoff there with like Kiat on the button, Christoph, Adrian behind you is like kind of May already.
Let me ask you a question. How does it differ right now if you have ace 10 of diamonds or ace 10 of spades with the non-backdoor flush draw, and here the ace 10 of hearts, which turns heart and then doesn't. How much are you factoring in all this and that this equation, or is it not really part of the puzzle in this hand with the ace 10 here?
I mean, the deciding blocker here is the ace, right? Like the 10 of hearts is kind of whatever. Like if you look at how the spot plays in theory, it's going to be like a very deciding factor is, for example, like ace of hearts in this case, right? Is going to be very different if it's ace of hearts or king of hearts, for example. Because if it's now king of hearts, then you have these type of hands where it's ace x and a heart. Whereas if it's the ace of hearts, you have these king x of hearts that are going to be folds, right? So that is a deciding factor. It's like much less nice to bluff in these spots when only the bottom card has backdoor flush draws. It's much nicer to bluff if the ace is in the backdoor flush draw suit. And then in theory, it's just going to be like Adrian has like the problem here is he gets a really good price, right? There's 1.3 million in the middle. He has 870K behind. So that's only like 65-ish% or whatever. And that is a problem. So you don't need to be right very often. I think practically, and that's what Adrian is thinking about right now, practically the problem is it does not really matter what kicker you have. You want to call a rather high frequency of your ace X. And now the thing is, do you think people are over bluffing this spot or under bluffing? I think that this is not the spot people are over bluffing. Two reasons. People don't like to fold top pair, and natural hand selection, like intuitive bluffs, just aren't that many here.
Yep.
Like that is my thinking here. So yeah.
Right. Like, what does he do with? Is he playing king X this way? Probably not. So it's either like he has ace. You're either. That's a great point about opening 5-6. You see that in the chat. 5-6 suited. Some people are saying 5-2. He's not opening those hands. So it's like that's the problem too. There's just what bluffs really does he have here?
Yeah, I mean that's a big deciding, right? Like let's say Kiat and Johannes stacks are reversed.
Yeah.
Then he might even open 5-7 suited, right? So it's
Wow,
like the bluffs are Jack 10 off. Yeah, like you see it now. It's like the bluffs are hands like that, Jack 10 off. But there's less from those bottom cards, and I'm in this particular spot. I kind of close my eyes and call, but yeah, mostly I would probably pick some frequency in the spot, and the frequency would be rather high. So I would probably call more than 2/3 of the time in this particular spot. But
okay.
Yeah, tough spot for Adrian.
Very tough and great bluff so far. Johannes really showing us something here today, putting it in light for a few times.
And that's big, right? Like if you think about your opponent just folded top pair for like 800K into like 2 million. That's a good hand to get a fold of.
Almost 3,000 watching. Appreciate you guys. When Fedor comes, we got a huge one today. This is exciting. Can't wait to give away the $200, $50 on Twitter, as well as three $50 tickets from GG. That will be all today in the show. We are down to 8 ace king suited, tier 1 king 10 actually flopping massively. And John, this is going to be, this is a big ask. I don't know how you're going to go away from this. SPR has already won on the turn, and ace king suited. This is kind of a massive cooler here.
Yep.
Not really much else to talk about for John. I don't see any path away here. 4-card rainbow. John has risen to the occasion a few times today. He's been locked in. 8 of hearts pairs the board now, 1.9 in SPR. And I just like thinking of some of your hero folds in life, Fedor, at final tables and spots. Like, is there just times where someone's sitting there, he's like, this is never bluffing and I'm never good. Like, is he shoving king queen? Does he just check call? Or like, is there just some time you could just find a way where you're just like, all right, I'm beat, but this is don't see this one.
I mean, that is one of those spots where probably one of those rivers where everything he's bluffing, he's giving up. Like, I'd actually, put my money on this bet size being 0% bluff, basically.
All right. So with that being said, if you're John, are you when you 0% bluff, are you getting rid of that? You can't.
I mean, the issue is he might have king queen, right? Like, there might be the very absurd situation where he has king queen and but yeah, it just feels like it's king 8 or king 10 or but those spots always suck. It's always like this. It's so often that I end up in a spot like this. It's so few combos. It's such a good price. You end up calling and your feeling is more right than wrong. And also I feel like more right than the price, So hate these spots. John identifies it too, right? It's like I think every good hand reader, like every good poker player, just sits there and is like they have seen the sample, they've played the hands, and it's just like you kind of I feel like it's those spots where you just press call and kind of just confirm your feeling, It's like you kind of know you.
Big pot. Our PLO superstar, Triton winner, going to go ahead and take a 3.3 million stack. John now in a little bit of trouble. Ihar hanging on was one of the shortest still in, but he has got a lot of work. Kiat has chipped up nicely. Vogel saying 2.5. Mateos down to 800. And Johannes, is he our MVP today, Fedor? I mean, he's really just ripped in the Jack 10 off. Really been going for it. That is for sure. Going for it. 3.3. Still tight. 5 million. Kiat, the only one who's really emerged here. King 9 off. He did get a aces to queens, nice cooler. He's also gotten some pretty good runouts on the board, but very dangerous player. He's a guy that I just feel like when I play live, he just seems really in tune to what's happening and seems very alert and focused and plays well. Ihar now 9-10 off and getting shorts.
That has to go in.
John Queen Deuce suited, one of the next shortest stacks, and Ihar really thinking, but yeah, I think you're just gonna get a lot of folds. He does fold. If he had shoved, gonna be many hands, even like this, a better hand. We're just gonna be asked to fold. Does get out of the way there as we will continue on 8-handed. The king queen from the short stack. All right, this one he folded 9-10 off last hand. This time button king queen folded too. This is pretty straightforward and the worst hand in the game in the big blind, and John not going to get involved. So at least he will be chipping up here. Going to pick up almost 200,000 to a stack. Pretty big pickup for his current situation. Any hand? What's the most? I mean, the 10 jack was a mystery hand, a pretty highlight hand. Any other hands that are you impressed by or surprised you today so far?
I mean, I feel like there's been quite a lot of spicy runouts. I mean, there's some like quads, full houses, fats, straights. There's a lot of stuff. So, was a lot of stuff going on. I feel like we had like 10 action hands, but like not that much money going into the middle. For what could have been, but yeah, some big hands, just not that many clashes yet. Like I think we're gonna see a few more clashes.
For sure. Queen jack suited.
Maybe in this one.
Score gets involved now, and pretty big whiff. No one really getting much of anything here. Queen jack suited does have a gut shot.
To lead here. I quite like a lead.
maybe a little bit of understanding what his perceived images too. Johannes has just been barreling, blasting through some of those hands, maybe coming to radar. He's like, you know what, I'm overdoing it. It'd be a good time to start having some sort of hand or something that maybe I just look super aggressive. And he has been just that. Although Queen Jack now, after everyone checks, does he decide for a delayed lead?
Yeah, I mean, personally, it's just a spot where I want to bet and possibly also bet big. I mean, it's kind of, you know, it's not that great because Kiat is behind us, he covers us, and he's not known for folding. But yeah. Curious now if John starts betting his hand. Because that's definitely the type of turn you can start bet that type of hand.
You're right. I do. I mean, you look over in Ihar and Adrian, it's pretty much short, significantly shorter. Also, as you said, Kiat not known to fold. Johannes tough. I did think he would not bet, although he could consider it. And as it plays, the 4 might be picking up 400,000 here, and no one put any money into the pot. Will it check down at this point? I think Johannes less likely to. River just random stabs are you don't see as much. Queen Jack, gotta believe he's not got the best hand. And let's see if he does try something here.
And it's hard to win with Queen High here.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't think he thinks he's going to win, and he does go ahead and take a stab. And although Kiat has a 4, I think you got to respect it. Nice, finds a way to win, man. This guy is playing above the rim. He's really been creative.
That's what I told you. It's a strong player.
Very strong. He's got himself a good situation going. A lot of chips over on that side of the table. Johannes, Kiat, and Vogelsang. Espelon, has he been? It seems like he hasn't really got dealt in, but we have not really seen much of him today. Not
he
much.
Folded
sure.
He folded straight, and I think besides that, not too much stuff going on.
It is the real Adrian Mateos. That is correct. It's also the real Fedor Holz.
In the booth. And the real Jeff Gross.
We're here. We're all here. It's all weekly.
It's not AI generated yet.
It's getting crazy out there, man. I'll tell you what. I don't know.
It's real.
It really is something happening. It's hard to follow now. Anything. It is nutty. But these are real players, real money, and we will see a real winner today. 3 with the open-ended Jack 9 suited, both backdoor hearts available to Christoph. Thinking what to do here.
Bet or check? That's always the question.
Yeah, he's got some decent equity, no matter what, in his mind. I mean, there is a merit to betting. He does go for it. Jack 9 suited with 2 overs, backdoor flush draw. Gets out of the way. A little respect there. Kiat been winning a lot of hands. Just gonna go ahead and sit that one out as we go to the next hand. Queen 3 suited in the big blind for Adrian, getting short. Ace Jack gonna open it up. We really haven't seen. We've seen aces numerous times. We haven't seen much of a cooler other than the aces to queens and then a couple of spicy runouts. We haven't seen a ton of action. Adrian, risk premium, the lowest. He's going to defend. Queen 3 gets a pretty boring flop. Ace Jack pairs the ace, the strong kicker, and that will probably wrap that hand as well. Not how Adrian drew it up, but never out, never over till it's over.
That's right. You never know.
And he is someone who knows all the moves, all the stacks, and he has ace 4 suited here. The King Jack suited going to come in and a couple playable hands. Johannes get out of the way, and ace 4 suited. John's one of those ones where it's probably less appealing too, right? If Johannes or Kiat or Vogelsang, you start thinking, okay, ace 4 suited. This is the one guy that is going to be a little stronger. He happens to have a suited Broadway, but you're going to see a pair or a dominated ace, although you can't be too selective, but Adrian will pass. I think that makes sense based on that. If that were Johannes, would he just take his chances?
Probably. I think he was probably also considering call. You know, it's one of those hands you can also, like, this is something that I think a lot of players don't have in their repertoire, but it's actually quite nice, you know? I mean, you have to call 100K, but there's 400K in the middle, and it's actually quite you still have the chance to continue being in the game, right? So it's actually quite a decent option too.
Yeah, and there's some flops where you maybe flop a wheel draw or something else where you even could get a stronger
Yeah,
ace.
or an ace, right? It's like you're not
Yeah.
being put on an ace, so to speak. So yeah.
Well, I'm saying there's a scenario too where someone has ace 10 or something and the board comes like 3 deuce, whatever, something where you maybe even get a stronger hand that's just calling you all in that then could fold, or some other good things can happen in that spot. But yeah, I think you're right. It's almost a very rare sight to see people playing off that stack size and with those type of hands, especially out of position. But here we see the king 4 going to make top and bottom. The missionary on the turn 4-3 thinking about getting involved, going to get out of the way.
Check raising probably.
Yeah. We just haven't pegged as a PLO superstar, but we don't know that. I don't know that for a fact. Might be very well versed in Hold'em and chipping up here so far.
Yeah. I think Gavs is his nickname, and I think I've played some Hold'em with him before. So it's also these like very strong players. It's like if you understand 4 cards, you like very well, then you also there's lots of things you'll also understand and Hold'em, and vice versa. I mean, there's some PLO players that are very good Hold'em players too, and the other way around. So
yeah, no doubt. Definitely seen more merge. I feel like I've noticed more recently players playing PLO, like really great no limit players are starting to venture a little bit over. Obviously, Triton has some big buy-in PLO as well, and that's sort of becoming popular. And then if the Poker Go Studios, there's a lot of PLO action as well. So I think that's sort of the most popular next game. It looked like short deck or 6+, if you will, was going to be that game, and that kind of seems to have slowed down. And at Triton as well, right? They still a little bit, but it's sort of become more PLO.
Yeah, I mean PLO is hot right now for sure.
And ace 8 out flopping IHAR. Frustrating here spot where you actually are in a really good position, and now all of a sudden you're outmatched and you have to get out of the way. So bit of cat and mouse game of chicken, IHAR and Adrian. Certainly Adrian's not going to pass the spot to try to ladder and go for it, but at the same time there is a nice pay jump that is available. You just got to go for it, though. You can't sit out too much. We have lost one player. Next payout 70. Then it'll be 89K. Up to 386. Going to have an 84K heads-up match. No deal making. And Paul mentioned super passive compared to the last 2 weeks. Again, sort of predicting that could be the case just with the stack distribution. 25 blind shortest today, 64 biggest. So tight versus sometimes we see like a 5 blind, 8 blind, 12 blind, and a huge stack, like 100 blind stack. Today, that wasn't the case. And again, can always heat up quickly, but things have been pretty straightforward. And this is a big flop. Middle set versus top pair and a queen high flush draw. And there's the flush. So Jack's going to shrink in value a lot. Espelon, we mentioned not getting too involved. Kiat kind of going his way again here as the board does not pair on the river, and the queen high flush, second nut flush is going to be pretty happy.
And not that many flushes for Espelon, right? Like, especially now that you have the queen of clubs, like, it's like lots of the pairs don't bet the flop. If you have 8s or 9s with 8s or 7s with a club, you don't really bet the flop in position. So it's like hard to have a 10 of clubs. Also not that easy to have the ace of clubs when you check the turn. So easy money.
Yep. Working a lot of timing in poker. You can see the time shot clock, chess clock, if you will. No one really short 7 minutes or least amount of time. Players playing relatively quickly. How have you noticed that now there's been a sample of shot clocks in the high stakes tournaments and the Tritons and the Poker Goes and a lot of these bigger buy-in shot clocks? Have you seen, has it almost been conditioned where everyone just kind of plays quicker in general now? Do you notice that less tanking pre? Is that a generalization you could say is true?
Yeah, I think there's some improvements to be made, but generally I think faster poker is better poker in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah.
king 7, 10, 5. Kiat deciding that the time to bet and go for it. I mean, this is pretty standard. King 7 gonna put pressure, covering the hand that likely is good, and it happens to be. Mateos now gonna take the big blind, extremely short hands, and shortly we'll be moving up blinds again as ace 8 suited in the big blind, as it turns out, basically flipping against the hand that will open and give him some action. So we'll likely see this go. Yes, yeah. I mean, obviously he's playing. Just a matter of, does he want to flat or go all in? And he's going to get called no matter what, right? So does he want to shove or just call? Call makes sense. It's not a great board. And 7s also doesn't love this board, though.
Yeah, interesting how to proceed here.
Yeah, definitely not the dream flop for Adrian, although they're understanding Gavin, who has some chips, doesn't have to have the strongest hand in the world, but he is going to give it up, and 7s do hold it down. Take down the pot. 348 for Adrian, not a position he's used to, usually being super short.
Let's see if Ihan now puts this in.
He's got about 1.5, 1.2, 1.3 big blind lead. He's going to be taking the blind, though, coming up. And again, yes, there's a ladder, but at some point, Amir Vahidi said it, in order to live, you must be willing to die in the poker streets. That is a thing that does hold true. You can't just wait forever. And a fold was made. That is unfortunate because, well, I guess he would have got called by King Queen and would have been a risk. But yeah, that could have been him over $1 million. Now all of a sudden he's at 470, going to hit the blind next hand. So, you know, again,
he really wants that ladder.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe factoring in that also Adrian, not someone that's going to be playing for that, will put it in and maybe gets a chance to get that pay jump without having to go. But now it hurts, right? When you go through the
but still, it's like you blind out now. It's like you got to take those spots, like the 9, 10 off, the pocket 5s. It's just, it's making too many chips, you know. You just gotta be in there, play for the win to some degree, you know. It's good to know when you have to be a bit more passive, but like when you get the hands, you also have to put it in.
Yeah, very even final table. Again, 16% of the chips at 64 blinds. He started, the short stack was Ihar with 25 blinds, 6.27. So less than a 10% gap between first and ninth. Very, very even to start. So yeah, he's not how you drew it up, right? As one of the short stacks, when you actually have 25 blinds, you start thinking, okay, things could go around. Maybe I'm not going to get left short. As it turns out, he is there, but he is going to get his wish. He's going to get to
let's see it.
At risk Adrian. John going to need to find some paint, and there is diamonds looking good for Adrian. Paint again, but not a king or queen. Now a king or a queen only, and it cannot be a diamond. Diamond flush there. As we will see Adrian back to 750. And now you're Ihar. Yeah, you're kicking yourself a little bit. That could have been you flipping ahead slightly and up to $1 million. Now you got 345. You got 5 blinds, and you are the next on the chopping block for sure. Yeah, good timing here. Going to open ace 8 suited. No one has anything.
Easy money. Maybe 4-5 off. Can be defended that deep. It's like you have risk premium, but it's also when you get that deep, you know, it's not like you get it all in all the time. So you still have maneuverability. Stack to pot ratio is still quite deep, right? So like it's not like you have to decide on the flop if you put it all in. So you can actually play more normal, so to speak, in these type of spots. And Kiat goes for 2/3. And now let's see if Johannes can bink something. Like the 7 on the turn would probably be the card. But there's a king, and quite reasonable for Kiat to continue on the turn. Very little king X in Johannes' range is like a really good card for him. Plus the extra pressure of the chip distribution. So. Oh, and the deuce.
Wow.
Juicy deuce. Now I think you'll see a hefty bet from Johannes. Lots of stuff that missed, right? Like, ooh, okay. Here goes the block route and snap fold from Kia. That is also interesting.
All right, blinds are up 40-80. Down to 4 blinds for Ihar, and Adrian with ace jack going to get to come and enter the pot off his 9 blinds. Thinking, does he want to shove or min raise?
I mean, in my opinion, slightly too high to be raised folding here, so I think it just has to go in.
I got a feeling you and Adrian aren't going to be too far apart on your thought process as we see that link lining up again. But there is a very interesting cutoff, right? To have ace jack off with 12 blinds or 8 or 5 or 6 or
yeah.
nuances to it. So
I mean, I'd say that what really differentiates, like the very good players is you have to be just really sharp, short stack, and have some out of the box ideas as well, because sure, as Sims and like, ooh, yeah, it's getting it in.
all in. So now 7s versus ace deuce suited. It
Oh,
feels cool.
I think he'll get. I feel like he gets punished.
Oh,
Okay.
that was a good turn. Great turn
good
there.
turn.
Takes away the 4 for him, and it is a jack. So it doesn't go that way, and he's going to join Adrian back into out of the depths as they will patience pay off. And how many times you see that story? You pass, you end up getting it in 3-1, 2-1 type deal, and then you're just out. And here we go, ace queen, and right into Kiat, who's just a vacuum. This guy, you said it, feels like a magnet for just his day. And he was up to 5. He's got 4.5, and Ihar here is less than 10 blinds. Not much you're going to talk about. Not much to discuss here.
Let's see. Maybe find something creative. I don't know. Maybe he min raises and then.
And that is on their backs. 1.7 in the middle. Kiat, can he do it? Kings, no. Ihar could be a genius. Spade for a sweat. Yes, that has been obliged. The river card, slow peel is a spade.
Oh.
The painful way, man. Ace queen gave a tease, but it wasn't meant to be. Kiat is going to be up to
it felt weird, It just felt like.
Yeah, it was like too magical of a run. Is he really going to just kind of go through and get that done? I didn't think that was the case either, but hey, Kiat down, going to take us into 7. We got giveaways queuing up around 5 left. We'll do 3. And
you have the queens in the big line, you get the walk. That's, you see the queens, you're like, Kiat is for sure going to open, Adrian's going to shove, John might shove, and then you get the walk. And now this is a spot probably Adrian is gonna take. Still quite some raise folds in Kiat's range, and just a good amount of chips in the middle. And another one.
Ace king. Oh, 10 jack suited, 10 jack, but
back to back.
It's to just go ahead and grip it, rip it, ship it. And he is on his way to a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. Good question. The VPIP stats, that is for the entire duration. That is not today, but that's counting the Sunday, day 1 of this tournament. So that's not his lifetime stats or just today. That is for the Sunday and today. So good question.
Ace queen. That could be a big one.
Yeah. Johannes you know, he's been super aggressive. At this point, the delay has caught up. Most likely his players have been watching. Also, they just know he's capable. And this is sort of the ones where you do get in a spot where you actually make something. These hands are harder to play sometimes, right, Fedor? The when you hit like moderate, it's better to just know you're going to be bluffing or have value. These can get you in trouble.
I mean, this is not fun, you know? At least, yeah, he has a big stack, so that's helpful. But it's already a spot where Kiat is not betting worse for value. So you're like, you know, he has better, or he's bluffing, and you can right? Like big fold from Giannis. Like this is and also quick. This is a big fold.
My man is he's locked
He's
in.
Dialed in.
That
He's
is
absolutely dialed in.
That is, if you go to dialed poker right now, he is looks like the man to beat. It seems like it's going to take a cooler or a unfortunate run out to get his chips. He's been really locked in.
Very, very disciplined.
Just confidently. It's confident. Just that's like respecting the game. It's almost like, and when you fold that fast, it's almost like, hey, I don't want to think long, think wrong. It's just he gets to win this pot with our stacks. The situation, if he's bluffing, credit to him. But it's just you got it. Like I'm gonna find a different time to attack. So yeah, that's well played.
Yeah, and I think it's also one of those spots when you feel like, yes, you know, maybe opponent is bluffing and not like at a super low frequency, not like he's never bluffing, but also if you feel like your opponent is, for example, always following through river, and you have a hand that's just really bad to call. I think that's also part of his thought process. It's you know, maybe he thinks Kiat is under bluffing the spot, but then also like if he's bluffing, he's also always bluffing river, and then it's just not great to call turn and always fold river. So one of those spots where you can also consider just overfold turn. So that is interesting as well. That is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Is that a 3-bet fold? Not really sure what I'm witnessing here.
This might short circuit Adrian, right? He might just read this as like he's got to be beat, and I mean I could see him folding this for sure.
That would be.
It looks super strong. It does look incredibly strong.
I mean, that's also interesting because that is not a shove preflop. So it's like that is an exploitative play because you know you 3-bet 15 BB stack that opens as second shortest and off like what was it, 9 big blinds, half your stack. I mean that was something. That was definitely something.
And John also, he's really hung in there. He's found a way to survive. He's kind of not gotten in amazing situations either. And he's in the mix. Adrian now, King 8, 40-80 blinds. And he is going to pick that up. 1.3 million still in, trying to get back to that 20 blind safety zone. John, queen jack off. No one here with a very strong hand. A lot of modest holdings. Going to go for the raise, get the king 10 to fold, the ace 9 off, also in the small. Probably giving some credit here to the queen jack off.
I mean, it's also potential for a small 3-bet. But yeah.
Oh, this
Jack
is
10.
now I'm curious if Adrian goes for Jack 10 off here. I probably would not. But yeah.
Well, if he can shake the king 10, who's looking curious about what's happening here, it will work out well. If not, this is again just the guy does take a stand, Gavin, and makes a nice raise here, recognizing what Adrian is capable of, and as you said, you might not, and that did work out well for Gavin. Really, really nice to put the foot down there. Almost got that through. When you say you probably not with the hand selection, just because of stack sizes and just that particular hand with his stack, like you would rather have what there specifically and just not put Jack 10 in that.
Yeah, I mean it's very clearly like the fringe hand where you don't open Jack 9 off, and then Jack 10 for me is, I mean, it's situational dependent, and Espelon has been playing on the more passive side. So yeah, I think it's quite dependent on how often you think you get 3-bet. So that's kind of the deciding factor there, but I think it's closer than it maybe looks. Like I probably just go a pip tighter in a spot like this, and then it's just not Jack 10 off for me, but Queen Jack off, and more Queen 10 off than Jack 10 off. And this is something coming from one of the loosest players, and but I'm trying, I'm really trying to keep it together.
All right, we got Ace Jack and it through on the button. 3,000 of you on. We have got 27 of you that have retweeted. We got a mystery hand here as well. I'm going to put that link one more time. $50 cash available. Put that in the chat. You guys can retweet and guess the winner. Chance at 50 cash out of my pocket. We got 350 GG tickets. And Adrian, man, he's your first pick and he's your mystery hand. I'm going to let you talk it through again. This time, not in the blind. He's under the gun. Last time he got bluffed out of his chair. Johannes followed through with Jack 10 off on an ace high board. Very strong play. And here now, nines. Let's see if Adrian can redeem himself from the last mystery hand.
Let's see who he's playing against. If Johannes is tanking, then maybe he flats and we play against him.
That'd be fun to have the back-to-back mystery with round 2. Johannes. Oh,
yeah.
Baby. Wow.
Ooh.
King 8-4, 3 hearts, 9. Scary looking. Scary looking. And surely Adrian's seen that last hand. This almost feels like deja vu. Also, hearts involved here. Talk to me, Fedor. 9s.
I mean, I don't think I see betted ever. I don't think so. Now against this sizing, I think I always call. And man, I'm praying for the 9 of diamonds, believe me. So now it gets dicey.
That's a pretty above average turn. Seems 9s if you were good, likely going to be still good. So now he's going to come out leading the paired 8.
I mean, man, this can get so tricky. It's basically, right, like we're looking at I think reasonable hands are all kinds of suited broadways, Queen 10 diamonds, Jack 10 diamonds. We could see something like Ace Jack, Ace 10 off with a heart. Probably not without, probably checking without. Probably also if it's ace 10 or ace jack, jack of hearts or 10 of hearts, probably also checking quite high frequency. So it's like could be ace jack, ace of hearts, and then could be pocket sixes, pocket sevens. So basically now I think on a river, we're basically, I mean, he's never turning a pair into a bluff. So we're basically bluff catching against, I mean, value is quite clear, right? It's like, it could be king, jack, king, queen. Could be suited ace, like ace five of hearts. Could be
Yeah.
jack 10 of hearts.
118 to 1, 118 to 1 odds to flop a flush. He did flat. It's hard. That's tough. You can lose that. I think you mentioned not it. You don't mention ace king because we would have heard about that pre-flop. So yeah, does he have king jack suited, king queen suited? Does he somehow have?
I think fold is the right play.
Wow, but in a wild way. 7 on the river, and I mean Adrian, and that is just a high level fold, but also crazy, man. Johannes finds the boat on the river. Sick, man. Sick.
I feel actually, what is definitely something to consider here is like I would have read quite a bit. Like if I go through the hand, I would have read actually quite a bit into his tanking preflop. Because there's something where like, there's definitely a balance in tanking where people tank to like, make it not obvious what he had, but he was actually like tanking a bit longer than tanking. I think it was like a 45-second tank or something. And I feel that makes it less likely to be Jack 10 suited, which he wouldn't really consider raising, and more likely to be a pocket pair, for example. And if I feel like I'm bluff catching against, absolute air, then I feel the tank kind of removes those hands. So I would have been very hard here on fold, and think call would have been like a very, very relevant losing play.
Yeah, very interesting hand. Again, man, Johannes, he's got to be my pick to win currently in this moment. Kiat also just always is just in the mix. And Christoph and Adrian, you got 40, 38 million and 50 million lifetime earnings guys just lurking at the table. John Proudfoot played well. Espelon, who started out chip leader, he just he hasn't been dealt in too much, I would say, but just doesn't seem like we can say much about his game right now. He's actually one of the shorter stacks, right? But we got Adrian, John, then Espelon, and then everyone else is pretty healthy. And to be fair, he hasn't got a ton of opportunity. So
let's see, maybe his luck turns around and can go really quick with like 20 something big blinds. You win 1-2 big hands and boom, you're chip leading.
I mean, to be fair, that is one of the benefits of being the chip leader, or one of the chip leaders when you start out with 60 plus blinds today, that you can withstand some of the adversity. So many other people with his stack or with this thing would be out, yet he's still above 20 blinds and hasn't got it going. You've seen chip leaders get down to 5th or 6th with 7-8 left and come back and win, and that's just part of that power is being able to withstand runs of being card dead or not getting favorable situations. So yeah, let's see if he can do it. And we are at 4080K. Going to jump up here in a moment with you upper left, see the hands where that does get up. And here's another spot, queens, just coolering ace queen. Although with an open, Vogel saying may be able to get away early out. Would you think maybe flats though with under the gun raise in this situation? He is going to 3-bet against that, although it is 7-handed.
I mean, if you cover by $1 million, I think queens is like and you can obviously do both, but I feel like you can just put it in the value range and 3-bet fairly often here. I prefer 3-bet almost entirely here.
Ace Jack, Ace 7, Ace 7, and John again, sort of Easier when you have ace queen suited here, ace king, you know, nines plus. He is going to take a stand on Adrian, and he is going to be correct. I see it's 5.7 blinds. It was basically an all in, but he bet 4, and this is going to see if he can hold and knock out Adrian. We saw 7 gone. Looks unlikely for him to find it, but his name is Adrian Mateos, and he is going to get in, and that is cruel and unusual. Johannes going to show just a little insult to injury there as Mateos, man. This guy does not go away. And if you're John, those are one of the ones. Look at his lifetime earnings. Look at his experience here. It's like you're playing well. You get in the spot, huge swing, get a knockout, be in the game with 1.7 million again. And now all of a sudden you get ace queen suited. Can you dominate again this time and get it in and get back into about $1 million as well? So maybe a little bit of a roller coaster. Kia Lee with a king queen off, also a hand that is potentially interested, but does he want to? No, just keep it clean. Queen jack, ace queen. We saw another queen was out there, and the 9-6-6 flop, turn 3, needs a jack on the river. He does have the jack heart, so pure 3 outer. No, won't get $1 million chips. Welcome back, John. John is in, and everyone has doubled and got going. Fedor, one of those days. Just seems like it's going to be a battle out there. This is a attrition. This is
a long one.
The short stacks getting down to the wire and then coming both doubling. That is something else. Espelon now, ace jack. He will see how he plays that. Chad was saying bye-bye. Not quite. And Adrian is, we got 265 thumbs up, 3,200 people watching. People are engaging. We got a lot to give away today. 4 $50 giveaways between Twitter and here. Also, I just gave away 10 $100 giveaways. That has already been credited from the last tweet. If you guys go there, and I mean, Fedor, who doesn't like a good giveaway story? Little $50 spin up, and please share when you guys or girls capitalize on one of these. Come back, let us know. I'm sure there's been some good runs out there on some of these. This has been, again, a fun show. Always a little bit different.
Oh, yeah. You know more than me.
Seen a lot of these. And honestly, not many are.
How many have you done?
I think of about 150, roughly 100 something, 140, something like that. Yeah, it's a lot. There's some weeks where there's, in a year.
You must be an MTT pro, like tournament professional.
I got two little kids and a wife at home, but I'm salivating to get back out on the tour in about 15 years. I'm gonna go dive back in. The kids are in college, and I always say make it to a final table. That's hard though. This just gets you prepared, but you got to do a lot of hard work to make it from the start to the finish. Here, I've seen a lot of tricks and a lot of exciting stuff and a lot of new styles that has changed. It is funny to see if you were to look at 2 years ago and ace 5 going to get a better ace to fold. Nice execution from Adrian. These guys sort of sparring. Hannes does get rid of the ace 8. One of the benefits that ace 5 shove is that exact reason. You do get some ace 7, 8, 9s to fold, and you get that thing. But I think the game's changed a lot, right? From 2-3 years ago, even some of the sizings, the 3-bet sizing, the thought process, and it's just why it's so funny in poker. You could say a guy who maybe you call a fish or a whale or doing something wrong that now was like ahead of his time at the time. So I think that's always kind of an interesting. You can kind of blend and hide, right? You could just say I'm an innovator, Back to the Future, or future ahead. I'm ahead, and you can say there's more than one way to play a hand. That's the beautiful part. So we are seeing. Man, Mateos, dude, is he really back? He's just at 1.8. He's just in there. He's not even that short right now. Man, 18 blinds. Wow.
He's unkillable.
Yeah.
I've been there so many times trying, and it's hard, man. It's twice as hard as with some others.
That's 7. There's got to be a lot of belief. I'm telling you, you think it doesn't matter. Adrian's probably, again, doing his meditation, his cold plunge, all of it. He's just like a consummate professional. He's doing every single bit of what it takes to be at the highest level. And he's not even worried on that A7 with the 7 showing. He's just like, yeah. He's thinking he's chopping at worst. And ace, jack 10 here, jack 10 suited could have some thoughts. Does turn the spade. And ace jack in the lead still. Is this a good time with Jack high and the turn flush draw to start barreling big? You also maybe have more, maybe a few more pairs of opening. I don't know. I guess fours, fives, probably not.
Oh,
Threes.
I like a big bet here. It's like putting this type of hand already in a tough spot, right? Like just ace 10, ace jack, nothing. It's like not great to continue. And you have decent equity. Rivers get tough though, you know? When he calls, like hard to navigate.
Fedor, I know you are very humble and you also don't you're not really pushing or doing much promo stuff here, especially when you come on the show. Very gracious for your time. Appreciate it. With regard to Poker Code, I know it's a course you've worked very hard on. Matthias and yourself also just having great results live, crazy resume. Tell us a little bit about Poker Code. How much time, effort are you putting into that, and what can people do if they want to get some of that content or be involved?
Yeah, so it's my poker school. I launched it 6 years ago now. We moved it from, it started as a course, so I did a master class, and then we moved it into a membership because we felt like, you watch videos, but it's kind of like you have this library and then nothing happens. So we wanted it to become more a community, but then also ongoing content. So it's 10 times more work than just releasing a course, but I feel it's much more value for our members, and it's also cheaper, which is kind of crazy. Like we offer more and charge less. So a questionable business model, but yeah, now it's basically you get 8 to 10 live coachings a month from like some very high level coaches that I've picked myself, and you get access to all previous 500 coachings with my masterclass in a nice library, and then you also have a community where you can exchange about hands and ask questions and stuff. So that's the package, and then it's like 500-600 euros depending on the time per year. So it's like a few euros per coaching, which I think is nowadays for the quality you're getting is like a very good price.
That's awesome. And you're how updated you do? How much work are you specifically doing in terms of updates in the court and the stuff? Are you involved? Are you going to like these live things as well? Are you pretty hands on or at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, operationally, I have a really good team now. But at this point, since we do it for a long time, I had some time to build a good team. And content-wise, I do one session a month. Matthias does a session a month. Stefan Sontheimer is also a very successful player.
Hold that thought. King, queen, ace,
and
jack.
We all in.
Ace jack suited, massive start to the hand. 4 on the turn. Going to need a king or a queen on the river that is not a heart, and it is not it. John, he fought. He ran into Christoph Vogel saying, and ultimately going to go out wondering on those fives that he was it. Oh no, that was Ihar who passed. That the fives. Was Ihar. John was battling. He was in there. He was mixing it up. He is going to have to settle.
He was mixing it up.
7th place. So again, solid score, just under 100K, and now everyone guaranteed 6 figures. And I will let you resume that thought. So you and Matthias, you guys kind of alternate within the live stuff.
Yeah, basically. So all of us do at least one session a month, so you get a good mix.
Nice. Need Matthias on here, man. That's one of that guys.
Yeah,
I don't think I got to know. Let's invite him on for an upcoming show. Would love to pick his brain, and haven't been on the pod. Sure. It seems like a fun guy to talk with, and obviously knows the game very well. So like maybe we can ping him for us here at the show. That'd be great to have him. Deuces.
Now let's get some action in here.
On the button. Deuces to 7s, 15 blinds. Gavin's stats. Did you catch that in the lower left? That popped up 7% 3-bet, like 12% pre-flop raise this turn. He's been very tight, especially for a PLO. Maybe he's known as the splashy fun guy. He's been.
I think it's just the hands,
True. That's
sometimes
true. Super simple. Mateos thinking, wow.
Wow, big fold with the deuces. He felt this, that's the Spaniard, man. Built different. Lots of people busting here, not him.
Yep. I gotta say, I think I would have been sipping a pina colada on the beach with my 2-year-old if that was the case. I think I would have been. I don't think I'm just open mucking deuces 15 blinds there, but hey, cheers to him. Noted. Notes taken. Folding. What is the cutoff there, and why do you think you folded that instead of? Would you have ripped, or I mean, what are you doing in that spot?
I mean, it obviously functions bad as a raise fold, right? So that's clear. And like there's a pretty big jump from like deuces to threes. And I feel like the cutoff is right around there, where like I wouldn't want to jam 16. I would want to jam like for sure 13.5. So it's like that's kind of how I'm approaching the spot, where like now I'm in, thinking, feeling, guessing territory, where I'd probably be narrowing it down to like 14.5 to 15.5 ish. And probably am all in for like 14.5, but fold 15.5. And now I think he had 15.5. So yeah, it's like, maybe right, feels like kind of right on there.
Yep.
But I would probably have leaned towards shove just because of Espelon. Like, I don't think he calls too loose here ever. So I feel like that would have brought me, a big blind further, and I probably would have been in there. But yeah, maybe he was tuned into the universe and just felt it.
Yeah, good fold. Did work out for him. Ace 10 now flopping huge, and he's got Kiat betting. Yeah, a lot of notes today. Deuce, interesting, picks up equity. Deuce of non-heart, but still has a gut shot. Did get called. Does he want to slow down on the ace 8? It is wide ranges, blind on blind. Or does he continue? Does Kiat now return some equity? Goes big, gonna step into it. We don't see Kiat step into a uncomfortable situation much. He is officially in a spot where he is gonna need a miracle river. And Johannes is very high up in the range with ace 10 on ace 8, 2 blind on blind.
Yeah, not going anywhere.
That is for sure. Now the
Yeah,
question
I think
is,
Kiat will give up. I don't think he will go for this one. 3 of, like 6 of hearts, I think he would have gone for it, but now I think he just checks it.
I like that. He doesn't even like Hollywood, like, oh, I'm trying to figure. Like, he's just like, all right, you know what? I know where you're at. I'm not going for this one. Take it. Yeah, take next hand. Viewership. He goes, this is a primetime show. We got 3,200 people. We don't need to waste their time. Respect the chat. And we are now on to the next hand, and we are 6-handed with a couple of 15 blind stacks. Everyone else fairly healthy. Some 48, 50, 40, and almost 30 blinds. So a lot of play left. King 6 going to pick it up on the button. Johannes so far my MVP. Kiat also been running well but playing well. Adrian out of the depths. Gavin a quiet 5 million tied for chip lead. And Espelon TBD, but as chip leader with 5 left being the shortest is not how you draw it up. Oh, looks like my camera froze. I'm going to hold on, try to fix it. Let's see. There we go. I think I misclicked something on a OBS, having a flashback to the Twitch streaming days with the OBS. When's the last time you streamed, Fedor? I know you dove in and done some. Are you playing it all on Sundays and giving the viewers a taste or not?
The online, it's really like, I mean, I've done it for a bit, and it's just, I have respect for streamers. It's just,
me too.
I think if you do it recreationally, it's one thing, but if you want to play poker competitively at the same time, it just feels like an almost impossible task.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm a bad multitasker, but it's just I feel like I'm timing out. I can play half the tables. I can't talk during a hand. It's just I just play bad poker. So
Yeah, I think I've said we've talked about this before, but I would say if I could have redone my streaming for as much streaming as I did, I would have played like significantly less tables and just try to focus on a couple and because you end up in that exactly. You're like talking to the viewers and you're missing stuff, or you're just focused on the games and you're kind of neglecting viewers. I just think Jason Somerville was the guy that really had that down pat. He played like one table always and just talked to everyone and played well at the game he did and understood but that's the problem, right? Yourself, you're in there, you're like, oh, there's this K and a million, this guarantee and all these things. Like, all right, I'm here, I'm playing poker, I want to play. And then I'm streaming, but you kind of catch, you always, I think you probably talk to yourself every time, like, all right, I'm going to play less tables today. I'm going to do less and focus more, but it's just hard. You see these GG tournaments and guarantees and you're just like, how can I not fire? So yeah, I get it. There it is. Vogel saying Kings picks it up 3 mil. 3 mil, very much so wide open here. King 8 on the button for Adrian. Almost 300 thumbs up, 3,000 watching, 10%. Let's get that to 20. Let's get the double up those thumbs up. Appreciate you, Fedor. You might not even hit the thumbs up, and that is all in. Den Deuce Suited gonna take a stand. Espelon Ace Jack. He is ahead. 3-1 favorite going to the turn. The deuce. You never know when a deuce is important. And then the river for 3 million chips is a ace. Espelon, we talk about it. This is what it is. He is now back. He was chip leader and he's officially in the mix with 3 mil. He's kind of middle-ish of the pack, tied with Vogelsang, and that was a big swing for everyone involved. No ladder. Will continue 5 players.
Big. Six players.
Sorry, 6 would have been 5. We are still 6, and Adrian, the short stack, who we know doesn't go away. This is get your espressos out. I've hit my quota, but it might be in here for a bit. 61-20 blinds are up. 7s and kings have been pushed out here as Fedor takes a quick water break. Haven't won myself. Yeah, Barry Greenstein on the river. That has been happen. It felt like the deuce should put him more than 80%, but there was a counterfeit in there. The ace and jack were live, and 7s get out of the way. And Adrian, is he got a magic trick, a little rabbit up his hat again? Whoa. Big hand brewing. Johannes, who has played flawlessly. Does he have a way to avoid queens to aces button versus small blind? He's been so aggressive too. Queens look like suited aces for him here. He's been in there bluffing and messing around and doing all kinds of things. So this could be a big problem for him. And Kiat can't hate to see this.
Oof. What a spot. 1.15 and snap call.
Uh,
1.2.
Yeah. Okay. Sizing locked next though. Johannes, what's his move?
I mean,
this is for a lot of chips.
It's for a lot of chips. I mean, I've thought quite a bit about these type of spots. I mean, call is definitely not out of the option. But I think, it just has to go in.
It does. Kiat now aces the queens. He can't believe it. Greg goes all in, adjusting the glasses on the emoji. Has the clubs working for backdoors. The ace of clubs, if all the cards you could ask for it, and he is saying hello. The river is a club. Wow. Kiat Lee gonna get eliminated. Gonna get eliminated there. Queens to aces. He already knew it. It felt like that was a wild run out. The ace of clubs into the back door. That is a lot to take, and that is GG to Kiat Lee. Maybe thinking it's safer on the online streets then I'm sorry, the live, then online, 14 million in live earnings of regular at the Tritons, and he will have to go ahead and bow out there as we see a 5-handed affair continue. Still have time to get the retweets out. See a lot of you doing that. Jeff Gross Poker, you can go over there. $50 cash. We've already got 35 of you eligible. It's going to be, again, the giveaway. We'll queue it up with 4 left. We will put the first $50 GG ticket out. Wow. Runner with the ace involved. That was pretty nuts. Pretty scary game. And Vogel saying now 3 million. And Gavin in seconds. Queen Jack Ace 10. Johannes looking to add. It does feel like Johannes' day at this point, right? Kiat was in there in the conversation, but now such a lead, playing well, bluffing, running well. This is a lot to combat, and kind of has almost everyone's stack combined in his stack. It's like close 9 million, 10 million, and he's got 8.6. Actually, soon to have over 10 million here if he calls Ace 10 on the river.
I really like raising here.
You like raising the Ace 10?
Yeah, I really like. I think that's a spot that just your risk return, I think, is just really good in this spot.
I wouldn't have, considering that it's against the big blind and he's the opener, you would on the 5, like repping, you're just basically saying, yeah, if you don't have a 4, you can't call, kind of, and you risk the run you're going to lose to whatever 1 pair hands that are betting here. So you just decide to, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a spot where people give you a lot of credit. I mean, me is like him now also, you should probably consider that people have seen some stuff, but yeah. I mean, I think both call and raise are well within the options here. Now, after that long tank, I think he's just considering call.
If someone gives you a really long tank and then raises, though, it does feel extra scary, doesn't it? You can't do it too often, but it really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's nasty. Calls. Okay. Got it. And that is going to mean he has 10 million in chips. And that is also going to mean that the rest of the table has less than that. So he has exactly 50% of the chips in play, almost to a T. 3.4.1, 7.1, 9.7. Yeah, 9.9 to 10 million. That's pretty good spot. 5-handed, half the chips, ace 4 off. Going to go ahead and open. Adrian, though, ace queen.
Yeah.
We get to rip it. $1.6. All right, Fedor, give us the math. 5 left, 50% of the chips in play. 10 million for Johannes. What percent of the time does he take first, roughly, in your mind?
I mean, slightly more than 50. I don't know, like in the setting, 100, maybe 55, 50, 54, something like this.
Yeah.
If it's actually 50, I didn't count.
It was basically on the dot. It was 50 to, was willing to go for it. 6-9 suited, putting it on Vogel saying there.
Yeah, in these kind of scenarios, when it's like 20 BB average for the other guys, like you get to make a lot of chips.
Well, Fedor may be able to answer this one. I do see this question about why does Austria have a disproportionate amount of online players? Maybe you could speak a bit about the region and the stuff there and sort of the German, Austria, and other country sort of makeup.
It's just tax-wise quite friendly, and so lots of players move there. That's kind of the easy, and I mean the major thing then is it's a really lovely city. So, yeah.
Lovely city and good taxes for poker players.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's is it any think there's any bit of any change in that? Do you think with the Germany, is there a chance that the things change, or is this kind of just sort of doesn't seem like there's any movement?
No movement. Germany, they're not very flexible in regards to these type of things.
Right. Fair enough. Queen 5, King 6. King 6 started the hand, best hand. Flop, best hand. Turn still, best hand. Queen 5. Now with some showdown. Maybe thinking not needing to do too much.
Maybe even kind of bad to hit the 5 on the turn. Now he's almost certainly losing.
Yep. Well, Queen 10, chip leader. Gonna be trying to barrel through a few real hands here. Nines. If you're Vogel saying and you have nines and you have this stack and the chip leader opening, it's kind of like you're realizing that you want to risk it, but you also don't want to you have a decent stack given the situation. I think it's a lot of hand though here.
Yeah.
And could be problematic. So I think you're kind of realizing what it looks like.
Yeah. I mean, probably just shoving, but yeah, if Johannes has a bit less chips, 3-bet call might still be the play.
All right, 3 million. Vogel saying. Gavin, 3.7. There's the Jack 4 suited in the small blind. Ace 4 for Espelon, kind of a tough one. You got chip leader left and your very tough Vogel saying in the big blind. Doesn't have to worry about playing that hand. Queen 7 suited going to open here. And no one much going. Johannes with ace 3 button folded to him. What about live coming up, Fedor? Are you sort of reserved now to the Tritons and going to those stops? There's plenty in the year. Is there any other travel for poker, WSOP this summer, Bahamas?
Yeah, I'd probably go WSOP main event and Triton Montenegro is my next stop. I'll actually go to Cyprus probably. I'll probably go to Cyprus. There's like for a few days. And then fly to Montenegro from there. And I might, sixes. That is tricky now. Man, that might even be a fold against how Espelon has been playing.
Yeah.
Very disciplined from the Matador. And yeah, I played some in Tallinn recently. I really like Tallinn as a city. It was beautiful. So I'll probably go back there as well. There's this new club called Bombay. It was very, very nice.
Yeah. I'm actually Estonia. I wanted to go out there to that. It's he invited me. I thought it was like a 10K. They have other PLO too, right? It's a PLO, but they had the main event was
10K. They have cash games, tournaments. There's some good stuff. Let me know when you come.
I'd like to go. I've never been to Estonia. I would really like to go there. So yeah, or same. Yeah. If you know for sure you're going coming up, let me know. I'm
going in 2 weeks or so. So
okay, cool. Yeah, it's a cool area here. Very, very cool.
Yeah, and it's really like the casino and the hotel and everything is just incredible. So they've really done it beautifully. But now we have King Queen against Ace Jack, and let's see.
how Adrian is faring.
Can he do it? Paint somewhere. There's the queen. Now needs the king to make the straight, or he is going to need some other help. That is 14% on the river. Needs an ace or a king. Not going to be Mateos. This man was built to be a poker player. He can do it from ahead, from behind. He can just get it done. This guy is absolutely relentless. 2.1 million. Doesn't seem fair sometimes. King, queen, never a doubt. Gavin's got to be frustrated, and here he goes. Ace jack right back to work. 120 min raise 240. Gavin thinking, man, now I got sixes. This guy's min raising. Gonna get out of the way. It's like the Energizer Bunny, man. Like the honey badger. If you don't know what I'm talking about out there, just doesn't want to. You just don't want to be in his way. I'll tell you that. You do not.
Let's see, the king deuce off. Probably gotta be in there. And it will. Let's see if Adrian defends the 5-10 suited. Probably will.
All right, 5 left, 4 left. Going to do the first. We're going to get the keyword going. I'm going to get it queued. We might even just get it going soon. Problem is, it could be a while. I told you, I had a feeling this is going to be a long one today. We got.
Yeah, I'm getting tired already.
Yeah, I don't think forget it. It's like, what's it, 11 or 10 there?
It's 10 p.m.
Okay. So we got the daylight. You guys don't do that. We had the daylight. We just moved an hour. So we're closer. Yeah. It used to be this was the pregame at 1:15 Eastern. Now it's 2:15 Eastern. So that how is that with Europe and daylight savings? You guys do that or no? I forget. Maybe you don't.
I think we do, yeah.
You change, okay.
Yeah, we do change. And I think we see a double barrel here. I really like betting like 5 to 600 here, and he goes for 500. Really like it. You know, lots of 5x, 7x. That will fold, and I think he would have also just tripled it off.
Kings, ace 10. And Espelon maybe with the chance to get back.
Yeah, that would be an easy one. He gets the 510 from Giannis in the middle and then shoves, and Giannis will fold. Yeah, I think it's one of those spots where as Giannis, you might just leave this one out and just fold. I probably would have preferred that. But also, obviously, a quite decent hand to go for it.
Johannes is going to fold the 8-7 off, and ace is a little unlucky here that no one has anything. Although Gavin hasn't stopped him before for trying. Almost got the 10 deuce jam to work out versus ace jack. And now ace is going to get at least that completion for the extra half a blind. You know, the audience, we got over 3,000 people watching. We'll do it a little quick. Let's get it. Let's do a $50 giveaway. Let's start out with one. We're going to use keyword. We're going to give Poker Code a shout out today, man. Fedor giving us his time. It's late over there. Get him lit up with a couple thousand people saying Poker Code in the mix. It is cool how much different trainings and methodologies there are in the world. There are a lot of courses, you know, a handful that are known, and I think everyone, it's cool. You have a chance to choose, you know, a player or a style that you want to learn from, because there's a lot of good information. And I think part of the problem though is there's some information that's not up to date or correct too. So some of these courses, you know, obviously you put your stamp on yours, but it's hard to know what's necessarily right. But I think it's safe to say that learning hand ranges, opening ranges, there's a lot of info. Probably you pick up stuff from just doing studying in general, whether it's perfect or not. Going to make you go from 0 to, it's like golf. I like to say, you know, you're 120 golfer, you can get down to 90 or under 100 pretty easily. And then to kind of shave strokes, it gets harder. Hold on, guys. I haven't even put the keyword yet. It's going to be more than just Poker Code, but calm down. Keyword is
Hold the horses.
Yeah, everyone's already just shoot, man. This is a strong audience. I got to be careful. That's my fault. So we already. Well, anyway, it's gonna be like this: GGWSOP space poker code. Insert your GG poker username. I can't do anything if you don't put your GG poker username. Calm down. There it is. That's it. I just put it now. That's it. You got to do it. GGWSOP space poker code space your GG poker username. That is the first giveaway. You only got to put it once. You do it twice, it might be good luck. You do it more than twice, you probably won't win. Gonna have the team get that sorted. So there you go. My mistake for not being more clear to start. There we go. Now we got it right. GGWSOP space poker code. Put your GG poker username.
That's an IQ test for a giveaway.
Yeah. Yep. All right, now we got it. There's fast learners out here. I'll tell you what. This is instant adjustments. Very nice, everyone. Good to see everyone's active, having fun out there. Ace nine, king queen, ace nine, hammer lock on the hand. Mateos going to be shipping chips his way. Almost no chance he doesn't get this pot. Don't see Gavin having much of a path to do anything here, and kind of frustrating. Another fair fight. Reverse, right? He had ace jack to king queen, going to lose this time. Him king queen to ace nine. Going to lose, and next thing you know, Mateos is off and running with about 3 milli and a force in second. Okay, king queen sticks in there for another one.
Yeah, I mean, price is good, huh?
Price.
And I think, he will go for another milky bet. Tiny. I know my man.
You guys are you're on the same wavelength there. Also retweet $50 cash. There it is too. Link there. It's not over yet. You can guess who wins and retweet. And I'm gonna pick that today, right at the end of the show. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up and actually start going through, see who people. I'll see who people are guessing so far today. I'm curious. I think Johannes gonna get a lot of votes. Maybe mostly Johannes. I mean, Kiat for a while looked very dangerous. Got cooler. I mean, Kiat, to be fair, would have had the 10 mil, right? It would have been 9 million, 10 million. He would have been the one. And I'm seeing the tweets right now. I might just pick it before we do these giveaways too. Yeah, he's playing well, man. Tough guy, tough player. You say he's improving. You feel like he's one of the more just always optimizing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting better by the day.
Jack 9, hello. Just
hello.
Just dip it. It's fun when you got a guy willing to do that, because not even great players, and even it might be the right play, small edges. Not everyone's just open ripping there with that hand selection. So it makes it more exciting. It's kind of like a game of chicken, and you do see some pretty miraculous folds and also hero calls.
That's right. This is interesting now against Espelon. You maybe don't want to even jam this hand, but yeah. And now it gets dicey because if Gavin reshoves, this is like really not fun. But just has to go in, I guess. Oof. That's like ace 10 for sure, and like ace 9 is really not fun.
I think Adrian seems to lean on caution on these in general. I think he just feels his skill and his advantage is so big in so many spots that like anytime it's super tight, if it's on the exact cutoff, I think he almost leans towards caution because he's like, all right, I'll just pick it up next hand.
Which is fair.
Right.
Fair assumption. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, also the right adjustment.
Yeah. And it worked out there. A couple times now he's done that where it would have been actually really bad spot. Deuces to sevens.
Yeah.
Also there at ace 9 of queens, really ugly, and worked out. King 9 now 9-10 suited as Johannes has almost everyone the exact same stack, right? 10 million to 2.5 to 2 million across the board. Pretty dreamy situation here. He's just going to call. 9-10 suited plays so well post flop. Could you have considered shoving here on that min raise with 9-10 suited, or is it just that good?
Yeah, I would have.
Okay.
Because I think people don't play as respectful as they should. So then 9-10 suited just becomes a shove.
Right. They see you ripping it, but then yet when it's there on the button and they see you there, they just assume like, yeah, you'll just call sometimes or play it coy. So yeah, I think you're right. And that would have been an exact example. Also where he happens to be dominated too, right? The other problem isn't just that he loses a pot, but he flops a 9 and he gets a hand like that to double. So interesting. 356, you have hit thumbs up. Appreciate that. Let's see if we can get to 400. Going to announce the $50 ticket here shortly. First of 3. There'll be 3. Must be subscribed. Must hit the thumbs up. Must be having a good time. Those are the requirements to win today. Good luck to you. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of new ones. Saw a lot of people message where they're from. Pretty international crowd. Also on an international final table. Austria holding strong. No Brazilian today. Very rare.
Very rare. Yeah.
Very rare. Like almost never. I think Austria flag is like 98 out of 150 or so. Probably been there like 145, 146 times. Brazil's probably like 140, 135, almost a guarantee. But this is Austria. How many today? At least 3.
Yeah.
There's 2 left out of 5. Jack 7s. Ooh, Vogel saying he's a magician. Does he find a way out?
That is a difficult one again.
5-handed, getting thin. 392. You guys are fast and strong. We have 400.
I'm not sure he will though. Not sure he will.
Game inches. Johannes opens. He's stuffing instantly. Espelon opens. He hates it, and he is gonna play above the rim.
Some strong folds today. Some strong folds.
Yeah, really, really strong folds. All right, we crossed. We're at 400. I'm picking the winner here. Here we go. First winner. Let's see. Name. I like the username. It's actually poker hand and relevant to what we were just cut off of a hand. 4 more thumbs up. First giveaway. 3,300 on. What a show. Adrian's still in it. What about our dinner wager? Do I have Espelon? You have
Espelon, I have Adrian and Johannes.
Wait, you have Johannes?
Yeah.
I thought I was cruising. Is that not? Oh, because Kiat. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, you had Kiat.
Tough, man.
I'm already looking for 2-star restaurants in Miami region on the side.
Are you coming to Miami coming up?
I'm not planning on, but if we hit the 3-star, I will for sure.
You will come out. All right. Actually, you know what? I think we need to spice up the bets a little. The dinner is fun, but I think that should be flight airfare included. You know, like in Austria or Miami round trip with the +1. Like make it a real wager, a fun one. That would be maybe not hotel, but dinner and a flight.
I might start really loving this Tuesday show.
Yeah, you might be every week. We might get you into a full-time contract.
Buy me a condo.
Woo! 10s to ace jack. It is on their backs. 10s in the lead. Ace jack has some back doors. The turn is not.
I mean, that's for sure a jack on the river.
You feel that?
Sorry, Christoph.
That is pretty safe, right? 10.
That's safe.
9. Okay, that was important. That was a runaway. That would have been it. But we are well in it. 3 million. Christoph in. Mateo's 2.2, 2.3, 3 million. Still 9 million. And Johannes got in with the real hand there, and he didn't win that flip. But he's run. He can't complain. He won queens to aces for basically all the cookies, and he is.
That's right.
Playing well too. Can't say he's gonna not be playing well. Ace 8, King 5 suited. Ace 8, big flop, top pair, top kicker, 8-7 deuce dry board. Gavin with the king high and double back doors. Certainly viable to start keeping the story going. Does do that. Not going to work for stat hands. And yeah, I mean, ace 8, got to believe that is willing to take a stake here. Don't know if it serves so well just to call, right? Probably going to want to shoot it up. Is it all in or 750, 850? Does he just rip it? He's going to raise. No, he has to. I mean, he's
Definitely raising.
It's just a matter of all in or not.
Yeah, I think in this type of spot, against that sizing, you know, the sizing starts to become a bit more polar. And then against polar, I think smaller raise makes more sense. So I think Christoph identified that and thought similarly.
Another one you're going to match up with a lot on the thought process. Number 2 all-time German money list, only behind yourself, 38 million roughly. You have 49. So
I'm glad this doesn't count.
Yeah, 6 million, biggest score each. And he's in here. He hasn't won one of these. Oh, let's look at that. We didn't really talk about that today. 7 titles amongst the players, happens to be all between 2 of them. And Jans was one with 3, Mateos with 4. So interesting to note, if Mateos doesn't make a bit of a comeback here, we will have a new GGMillion champion today. First time winner, very likely. Although Mateos, not going to count him out, of course. He also has a good spot going here with the King of Hearts, live Jack, live King, and going to just go ahead and hit that perfect jack to put him into a mile ahead. And Gavin was hoping for a fold on the flop. How old is Mateos? Is he like 27 now or 6? I mean, he's young too.
He's the only one that's slightly younger than me. I think I'm 31, so I guess he's 29 or 30. He was always a year or 2 younger than me, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he had like 4 bracelets by the time he was 23 or something, or he had won a bunch of stuff, I think. Can't remember, but he was always one of the younger ones. And now a continuation from Gavin. This is problematic because Adrian does not have a folding hand. And will he fall through on rivers?
Let's see. I mean, optionless for Adrian here. And then it becomes interesting what Gavin does on the river. Half pot left. Let's see. He might back out. I feel like it might be the one he backs out from. It is a sweet spot with this. If you get there with this type of hand, that's the spot though.
Mm-hmm.
Give up. Adrian, 3 million.
Not a fun guy to bluff. You get to a river with that hand and that board. Yeah, it's a lot of money on the line. You are kind of reserved to your very short stack, but he does maybe good discipline there. Probably wouldn't have worked. Going to go ahead and put the second keyword once we get down to 4-handed. Congrats to the first winner, Nicholas. His username Ace A10 OS offsuit. So yeah, there it is. There it is right there. Vogel sign. Ace 10 off. Going to rip it. 2 hands that don't add up to much in the blinds, and we will continue 5-handed. Gavin now is the short stack, and again, pretty wild, right? Ace Jack to King Queen, and all we're talking about is Gavin. You know, Adrian's out now. All of a sudden, he's like fighting for the title, going for his 5th.
Now this is gonna get interesting. Ooh. Because Queens is going to 3-bet, and then I'm curious to see what Johannes does with his 7s.
See you, Ryan Gleedow. Good to see you again. Yeah, guys, sorry. Listen, spamming not appreciated you say it once, twice, ideally max. We do have a team working on it and picking a winner. It's not a perfect system, but they do their best, and do appreciate everyone participating and wish you luck on it. And we see if Johannes wants to take a plunge here with sevens, but things are going well for him. Does he really want to? He's got to kind of really, and Vogelsang hasn't been too out of line, although the situation's changed now. He has a little more chips. He understands that Johannes is pressuring. So again, still good recognition and discipline there, not to just take it personal or go for it, and understand, hey, I'll respect it and move on. And I still have 8.4, and we'll go to a new hand. All right, blind on blind, a little deeper now. He's got to deal with the second biggest stack, widest ranges. Jack Queen though, covering, goes for the raise. What about sizing here, Fedor? I see slightly over 3x, or I'm sorry, less. What's it, 285.20? So slightly less than 3x. What are the considerations on what size to go there if you're Johannes versus Christoph?
Like, I mean, this is not something I've like super in. I mean, what, you know, whether 2.5 is better than 2.9 or 2.7. Like, this is more based on some study and then some feeling, where I feel like you want to choose a sizing where, you know, you find the right. Oof.
Hold on, River
sweat
is
this.
looking good for Gavin,
and that's it.
Double. Keep it running.
So yeah, you wanna find a good balance, right? Like, put big blind under pressure, but also don't raise too big so that you can still raise quite a lot of hands. So I feel like, you know, just from gut feeling, I feel my size there would be something like 2.6, 2.7x. And what did he do? Like 460. So yeah, something in that vicinity. So yeah. The snap reshove.
And
with the ace-3 off and snap call. I like
sevens looking like a wow.
Ooh,
was due for a little adversity on the river. Could it be? Nope. Save 3 million. Gavin, welcome back. A little bit of justice. He got unlucky in a spot and big flippish 60-40. Didn't win versus Adrian. Now he's there. Adrian on 2 minutes on the shot clock. Everyone else fairly healthy with the clock. I think 2 minutes for Johannes as well. Let's see what Espelin does. Defends and then probably just check folds. All right, King 9, 4.6. Well in it. No big hands here. A7 on the button. Pretty uninteresting spots. I do want to let it get down to 4-handed before we do the next giveaway. A6, ace king. I'm going to run into a top tier hand here. And A6 getting invited to participate on a loose play. Doesn't take it. And we are still 8 million for Johannes. Not going great 5-handed. He went from 10 to 8, but still he did lose a flip. Playing pretty well, putting pressure too aggressively, and hasn't been able to extend his lead. Christoph has now narrowed that gap, but wide open. Everyone here still plenty of chips.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most fun part, you know, it's just so intense. Like everything, it can shift like any second. It's chips flying around. Like I just love this part of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it is fun. And it's so much skill, but also this is where, you know, some run good comes into play. This is an important time where chips do start moving in pre-flop, and Espelon this time, ace 10, going to run into a premium. Vogel saying with a very strong hand, 5-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Small raise.
Snap fold.
Does get out of the way, ace 10. Close. It was ace 10 suit. I mean, the bluff of the day, that jack 10 off was great. Adrian really tanked a long time there. Didn't call. And that to me, that was one where, because the other one too, like the sevens or the 8-6, you know, that was just a mandatory bluff. He did go for all of it, but then soon after the fault, he with another bluff. Very strong play. Very strong.
I mean, I just feel like he has a good, very, very good feeling, you know, for he called the ace 10 as well against the queen jack, and like didn't bluff two hands that you could definitely bluff theoretically. Like I just really like, you know, how he deviates in one or the other direction, and he's obviously fairly studied in these shove spots and short stack stuff. I just really, you know, I mentioned it earlier, but I just think he's a very good player. So very nice to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm impressed. I've seen him play before, and I remember him playing well, but today definitely seems like really stood out just with the willingness to go for it. Here, though, he goes same thing. He goes a little less than 3x and gets called by queen 5. And this is one where the queen, deuce, 2 spade board, no spade.
Hard to win.
Off. Yeah, hard to win.
Hard
also
to win.
Could put a few more chips in the middle here. Yep. A lot of money in the middle. All of a sudden, queen 5 has a 100% on this hand and no real way to get bluffed or off of it anyhow, how it's going to plan out though. So likely going to be around 6 million to 7 million. So really going to be tight, at least Johannes and Vogel saying now will be very close. And jack 8 suited. Gavin been pretty patient, not going to open there. Johannes ace queen button, 7 mil. 160K big blind in the upper left when the hands will go up. So we still have some time here. And the 6-7 for Mateos. He is the shortest all of a sudden. Calls.
And very hard to win that one too.
Yeah, flops the absolute goods.
Grinding some back up.
Yeah, ace 10, rip it. 1.4, no contest. So much timing though too in poker. Mateo stepping out, dodging, ducking, bobbing, weaving. 1.8 million. Short now, but in it. And Vogel saying king 5 suited. See if 5-handed second stack opening the chip leader feels like a good suited king. We saw Mateos open king 4 suited 9-handed under the gun.
Yeah, that was definitely wide. But here it's slightly different. You have these short stacks. I mean, big blind cover 0. It's marginal. Let's see if Espelon finds a shove here. He does not. And now I'm curious if Johannes has a folding range. He does.
Jack 7 suited big blind. Espelon 6-5 suited fun hand, but not there. Ace 10, another strong hand in the button for Johannes and Adrian. Again, this may just go to a heads up on a flop. Jack 7, no point to raise. Don't have full equity, but a very nice playable hand after the flop. Important pot here as both players whiff. Ace 10 in the lead in position. These are always curious to me too, right? A talented, capable player willing with any piece to go or not. You have a hand that you kind of have showdown value, you probably have the best hand. You don't really want to get blown off, but checking looks weak. These are always interesting to me, whether you bet small or you just check back. Check back, I think I would have. He did do the same.
I mean, if it would be that easy, then you would just check back strong and just call down. Like,
sure.
I think, you have to kind of, you have to be in there with different stuff, right? Like, you have to check
Sure.
Medium strong. Like, you don't have to trap super strong, but, you have to have a king sometimes, and you're going to have, like, jacks sometimes or whatever. So, but yeah.
Yeah, Jack 7 suited demanding a better situation than that. As played, Johannes can be super thrilled to just check and win. Although maybe he thinks that Adrian would have just probed something with some piece at some point, but that is still a check back and a win. Important 8 million, 6 million. Mateos now critically short under 10 blinds in the small blind. And king 5 suited, Espelon going to fold. So we got 2 sub 10 blind stacks, 1 sub 20, 2 healthy, 5 left. 2 giveaways left to go in the Twitter 50 giveaway. So 3 out of the 4 giveaways. Going to queue up the second one in a moment. Once we get the 4-handed, 2 10 blind stacks, going to give us that opportunity pretty soon, or a chance at least.
Adrian with the ace-8 off. Folds quickly. And that's quite fine.
Not pretty looking hands, not even an ace 9 or a pair. Ace 8 off, the best hand. It happens to be the button. And again, we'll go and see a really interesting situation. Although Johannes with the queen 5 off, I think the one spot where he could have set the tone differently, we talked about the 9-10 of hearts, could have jammed on the min raise open. Even some of these sort of like queen 5, king 7 offs, big little gap, maybe could 3-bet, but he's not going to mess with Gavin there. And we'll go on 5-handed, short stacks getting shorter. And a 4's on the button. Gonna have to be taking this one. King 8. Not in a situation we're going to be ripping anymore with Vogel saying healthy 5-6 suit in the small. Going to get out of the way. Mateos getting a little frustrating for him now, getting very short, not getting great hands. 6-8 off will call. And there it is. Top pair awarded. Backdoor hearts. Although this time I don't think he's going to get this short and this board. Not going to be a trap. King 8's just going to go ahead and bet. Probably very small. We see that 160K. And a frustrated Mateos can't combat this. Or can he? He can. He's going to step into it this time. But
The wrong one.
well, 624 now. Mateos running out of maneuverability. Went for one there. 8-3 suited button. Mateos now queen high for about 4 blinds. A little less, and that is in the middle. He's got the best hand, but 6-7 suited looks dangerous here. Flush draws, straights, queen deuce fades it all. Doesn't fade
drawing dead.
Sweat, that's for sure. Drawing dead 1.3. Welcome back, man. My guy is a absolute force of nature today. He has been undefeated all in and playing well, but also has run well on the all-ins. Queen deuce now, king 5, ace queen suited, ace jack. Okay, ace queen suited. Could Espelon get saved here with the open? And then, I mean, Vogel's saying, is he just flatting though? Or is it too much hands with that risk? I mean, really to get in versus that when he is clear second right now.
I think flat probably. I mean, this is like almost, it's like 35. I'm getting quite tired now. It's like I have to count 30. Yeah. I mean, especially if the flop is ace 3-7 2 hearts.
Well, ace jack just called in the big blind off his stack, which is an interesting play. And as he can't really flop better, he is now a big underdog. He needs the 3 outer because he does have the jack of hearts. So one of the remaining jacks has to fade a queen or some hearts. He's already behind. And now this is likely going to go 4-handed. We're going to cue the next giveaway up here. I'm just going to cue it up anyway, whether he miracles or not. We're going to do it. We're going to wake Fedor up. $50 GG ticket, keyword GGWSOP space Fedor. Fedor, insert GGPoker username. There it is. All in, cards on their back, 3 jacks. Miracles have been made. Ooh, what's that? King would chop opportunities, and the river is not. It's a 4, and that is good game. Espelon, who started chip leader. So for him to get 5th, I know he's going to look back and think a missed opportunity. At the same time, still a decent payout and return for his money playing with the world's best, and didn't run amazing. And there it is. Next keyword is there. 4-handed. We're going to do this plus 1 more. And Fedor sticking with us late at night. We need a little shot of something. There it is. See your 3,000 people chanting your name, man. This is that'll wake you up a little bit. Fedor poker code, all the good stuff. Can't bring Fedor in and not give him a little. He's already favorite for a dinner, but Vogel saying trying to get the stars back to neutral. Yeah, this is a chance. This is definitely a chance. Gavin's the wild card as well. Could be a neutral affair, and Johannes with a big flop. Big flop.
Big flop.
Vogel saying not someone who gives it away, though. He's going to understand this board. Not great. Does have backdoors. Ace or queen would come, and that could be problematic. Not going to win the hand, as we see now. Six, 7. Top 2. Vogel saying, is it time to put on that cape? See if there's any good hero movies released recently in the Germany, Austria area. Maybe he's thinking about one of these. No, there hasn't. He's going to fold and get out of the way. Nice fold for sure. Definitely beating some hands there. Not a clear fold.
Could have continued for sure. I thought he would.
Yeah. 100, 200 here. Gavin with 11, 12 blinds. Ace 8 off. Min raising. Probably. Guess he's thinking shove, but okay. Little slightly more than min raise. Happens to have a dominated, nice suited connector here. And both players will miss. Does have a gut shot for Fedor. 8, 9, 10 would make a straight. Needs a 9 or a 10 if he's able to get there. Gavin both just completely whiffing though. The queen jack 4, a little bit scary for the min raise. Important pot here. Assume a very small bet. And just all of it though. Okay.
Wow. That is
he's lucky he didn't make a small bet because that gut shot with the 8-9 in this particular case, maybe Adrian would have gone in. He doesn't even want to fold when he gets shoved on here. So it's maybe it worked out well for him there. No surprise.
Definitely.
And that's a big pot. 2.8 puts Adrian back into really poor position. And now
good luck.
Yeah, 10-7, get called, queen 8. Could put
that's probably that feels like that's it. Somehow that feels like that's it.
It does seem that way, but it's never over till it's over. 6 outs want to come. Adrian's pulled a few rabbits today, and the river is a king. Queen high, knockout, 3 left. Good game claps out. And we have got ourselves a winner. We've got ourselves a winner. It's going to be Renee Menchaca. GG username at GG Renee M. So there you go. There's a winner at Renee. That's a second. We got one more. Don't panic. Once we get down to heads up, actually, I'll probably start this one soon. 3-handed. We want to let appear heads up where everyone's not typing in the chat going crazy. 3,500 watching right now. Let's see our last giveaway. The link on Twitter still live. Jeff Gross Poker, guys. 50 of you have a chance at that. About a 2% chance for 50 cash. Not bad. Throw that link one more time. I'm not even going to say it other than out loud. Retweet. Guess who wins. You don't have to guess who wins correctly. Just guess it. That is there in the chat. And the keyword. Let's think of a good last keyword. Any fun words? Anything you want to talk about, Fedor? I'll pick a word. Or we already gave you poker code and Fedor. I'll let you choose the third giveaway word if you want, or else I'll find something. I don't know what else we can talk about.
Jeff G. Has to be you.
No. I get to hang out with these guys.
Or what's the restaurant we're going to? Two-star restaurant.
Let's see, a good Miami restaurant. We could let me think. Yeah, maybe there's a friend's. I'll have to think about it. We got a second to think before we do that last word. But
Jack 9 against 10s, value betting. I like it.
What a river that is. That is spice.
That's something.
That is something for sure. That is Johannes, Mirage, Vegas. Could be heads up. Jack 9. I mean, he's feeling nice about his hand. Diamonds miss, hearts miss, things miss, queen pairs. He should never have a queen. Very hard to have a queen, and he's going to bet. And this size, this has got to be for value upstairs. This is for all of it, no?
Yeah.
This could be
Johannes is the type of guy he's gonna get value from a 9 here.
Santa Pablo asked me if I play poker. I do. I play usually a couple times a week. One day no limit, one day PLO. Cash games. Still keeping the game sharp. Tournaments harder with the family and the young kids, but I love poker. I love tournaments and be at the WSOP main. Probably going to Montenegro. I think I'm going to play a couple. I'm debating. That's an amazing stop. I just so far, man. It's far, but that is. You've been to that one before, Fedor?
Montenegro?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. For me, it's really close. It's one of the closest. It's really great.
And he has asked for all the chips.
I think Gavin is calling.
Yeah, he's already got himself a podium. It's like you could be getting bluffed. Definitely a guy capable of it. He's shown it a lot. Your hand's strong.
Yeah.
It's really, maybe the only thing more you could ask for is not having a jack, but like whatever. In terms of you have a 9, they're bluffs. Tough battle. You look, that's it. 7.7 chit pot. Gavin, well played. Gonna go ahead and make us a heads up affair. We got to get this moving this third GGWSOP. Let's go with, you know what? I'm just feeling the word feeling Vegas. I haven't been there in a little while.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas WSOP coming up. It comes fast. We're in April almost. We're almost there. WSOP Vegas. Let's put in keyword. Yeah, insert your GG Poker username. That will be for $50 GG ticket. Good luck. Good luck. There it is. Final giveaway. We're heads up. And we got a dinner on the line. This is exciting when it works out this way. Sometimes it's a route. This is fair. You have a slight advantage. Christoph, I said it today at the start. That was my first pick. I said, this guy, you're here in the box. You're the only one holding over him in Germany by about 10 million from the original hailing country, the all-time money list. And Vogelsang's here to impress and get a first. We got a new GGMillion champion today. That is a fact. That is a first-time winner will be coming out of this. So a lot to play for. I think I mentioned the money. We got 84,000 roughly, 83K to play for. A first title winner of GGMillion. And Fedor and I have a dinner, and you guys have a $50 ticket. Everyone is in action right now. Everywhere across the board.
Now I just looked up star restaurants in Miami, and I'm really hoping my boy wins.
You would love it here, Fedor. Have you been to Miami in the last while? Did you play some Hard Rock stuff ever? Have you been out here or not?
Yeah,
don't tell me you haven't been to Miami.
I mean, I've been to Miami too many times.
Really? Like, but Miami or like Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, like Miami. I didn't love it. You know?
When's the last time you were here?
Long time ago, like 8 years or five years, 6, 7 years.
I moved here 8 years ago. It's not even the same city. It's like you wouldn't even recognize it. I'd lay you a big wager. Similar, we could bet the Helmuth coming to WSOP or not. Bet like that. I would guarantee you and put big odds that you would be like, wow, I don't recognize this city. I'll tell you that. It's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I'll come visit you. I promised you anyway.
We'll definitely go to dinner. I think you're good. You're safe for at least one dinner. Let's see what happens today. And we are going to be here with your man with top pair, going to get it done. And a nice lead to start here. Helmuth, what is the current line? Do you think he's going to play the main, or is he protesting with the duration? You said you think he will play, I believe, right? If you had to bet
I don't know, I just think he can't help himself. There will be some explanation why he plays it in the end. I don't know what's it going to be, but I think he will.
I actually was with him the other night. I flew to LA for the day, playing a private game with him. Pretty special night, but you're right. He's going to be, he gets talked into a lot. He's just going to, you're right. Someone will play, something's going to happen. Someone's going to get it.
It's just going to be like,
I can't bet it. I'm not betting it. I can't bet it. Yeah. There's too many possibilities. It's also no press is bad press. He's like instantly, it's a big debate, big topic. It's turned into like a pretty nice, interesting piece. And he is the WSOP man. Come on. He can't miss it. He's the most time winner. Like he lives for that. It's a little dramatic. I love the guy, but like, it is dramatic. Like, dude, if you're a little tired, it's okay. You could be tired and sort it out. You know what I mean? You could just be tired. And like, if you don't win it or you get knocked out because you think you were falling asleep or made a miscalculation, it's okay still. If you make day 4 or 5 or 6, don't win. But here we go. Aces for Johannes.
Aces, baby.
The European time zone, it's just tough to go. It's a different, like flying to San Fran or Miami from LA, it's almost the same to go to Europe, but that time the jet lag is different. It's a different beast. I don't mind going out west for a day, because honestly, it's like Europe. It's like you can go anywhere in Europe pretty quickly, and it's similar to the US, the landscape there. King 9, Queen 6. Vogelsang, is he ready to start getting spicy here?
That's going to be a check call for sure.
Check raise ever? It's a lot of time for a call.
I don't like it in a limp pot. I think it's just check calling. I think this is too strong a way into check raise. Don't love it.
He is going right into it. I'll tell you that. We got to pick the third winner, because you never know. This could be over in a second. I'm about almost loaded up. How many we got? We really about 500 thumbs up about to have. That's 3,000 on 1 out of 6. That is a excellently done audience. You guys are standout today, man. Fedor always brings the heat, brings the energy, and we bring ourselves a massive show today. This has been a lot of fun. A little bit, I don't want to say slow, but just, again, we could tell the 25 to 65 big blind wasn't going to be a lightning in a bottle action, but it was still very entertaining and great hands today. Really fun final table.
Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, I think now certainly too much hits the 6, beating like 10 jacks. Some other hands, limp pot does find a fold, just locked in. Okay, nice hand. Then good fold for sure. 15-4, big lead. 11 more thumbs ups, and we have got ourselves the third and ticket final awarding. My Twitter I'll announce right after as well. That is going to be our fourth for 50 cash. Over 55 you involved there, so appreciate all the retweets and the engagement. We're having fun. We're going to see a winner. New champion, GGMillion. First time, season 2025, part 1 of 2 seasons for the year. Cutoff being June in Vegas. 9-4-3-5. Johannes running out of clock. If Christoph can get into it, if he can get a double or find his way to chip up a little, could cause some slight problems with that clock. How much of a big deal is it for you if you have no clock? I think it makes a big difference, moderate difference.
If there's no shot clock?
I'm saying if he runs out of his 20-second shot clock.
I mean, it depends on the player, right? Like some players really struggle. But I think it'll be fine. Like, obviously, you know, it can be bad if you play like deeper, like if Christoph doubles and then he plays some deeper post-flop stuff, can be ugly. I think he should play fast now to like preserve his time.
All right, we're 4 away for the third and final pick. Picking the winner here as we see 7-9 and Queen 8. Yeah, this
could be it already.
For sure.
Because big bet, call, and then river can be a big bet and call.
Well, that is that river here. Yeah, 7-9 high. The 10s run out. Does show the check over. Queen 8 feeling pretty nice. All right. Extend the lead. 16 to 3.6. King 9, ace jack. Pretty nice looking hands for heads up poker. Queen 7 off being the computer hand in the middle. Vogel saying going to limp in. King 9 certainly could attack here. Does. And that will do it. 11 seconds now for Johannes. 5 thumbs up away. I think that might be a record. Appreciate every one of you hitting that 500 of you hit the thumbs up. 3,000 on. Very international group. 10-9 suited, 5-7 off. Fedor is fading. He is doing his best to lock in here as it is late over there. And this has been a long show. What are we over? 3 hours? 3 hours, 10 minutes in?
No, longer.
Well,
almost 4 hours.
With the pregame. You're right, Fedor.
Pregame, bro.
Pre-game's legit. That's real time. No, you're right. You're right. We've had some people in from the first moment, and we were there, and we actually even longer. We were reporting, testing, doing a lot. We don't just show up like this, Fedor. There's hair, makeup, everything. We're in there doing test lights, and it's a long day. This is a full day work of fun, though. Very fun. Ace 8, deuce 10, jumping in the lead again.
Let's see if there's 10 coming in. Hard to win though.
Arrived. Ace 8 has the check mark.
Now let's see. Are you checking or betting big?
$16-4. 4-1 lead. 4-1, but as we know, that becomes almost even if a double. Queen 10, ace 8, again, another possibility for it to happen just right here. I'm going to go ahead and announce that winner anyway. At Cookie. Let me get it out there. At Cookie. You won it. Cookie Clicker GG Zero Temper is the username. Congrats. Third winner right there. Cookie Clicker, $50. That is it. So we are down to the last giveaway, the Twitter. A bunch of people coming in still on that. We'll give you a little more time on that. The link. Sent that before. Ace 5 sevens. This has got to be a chance at it. Could it be with the Ace 5, such a pretty hand? Heads up versus sevens is behind, though, as we know. This
will be a big raise here from sevens.
Yep.
I mean, I hope he doesn't shove. Yeah, it will be big raise, and then I think he might just rip it.
Yep, that does seem that it is about that time. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Just calls and he hits the ace. So Vogel saying not the dream flop. 2.77 in the middle. He's got sevens, 2 overs, ace, scary. Ben in the mix over there in the UK. What's up, Ben? Great stream. Appreciate the kind words. I know you're a student of the game, always taking notes, studying. 10K buy-in. This is from Sunday. This is going to play to a winner. This is a 80 or 83 and change heads-up match. Vogel saying frustrating to have sevens heads up and then realize you're likely not good. Does call. Ace 5 brings the nut flush draw as well as the top pair.
Might go check, check and bluff it off.
Johannes down to 7 seconds again. Gonna bet though 1.1. And I mean, this board now surely not the time for Vogel saying to assert himself. All right. Well, still going. Giveaways have been picked. Let's see now who will win. 17 to 2.5. That's a big ask. Johannes really did rise to the occasion, played great, then got the queens to aces versus Kiali, which was a pivotal moment. Would have been left with the million very short. Instead, did get there dramatic as well. Turn ace, backdoor club draw comes in, river club arrives, knockout. He was the force 5-handed, and here he is now, heads up with a nice lead. Going to check raise with the 5 deuce. And Vogel saying with 10-6 suited, I mean,
very likely to see a float here.
Yeah. Got the backdoor club plus 10-6 likely good, and just see if his opponent's going to continue on with some modest holdings, follow through, and 5 deuce doesn't turn a spade or a draw. Will he give up? And both players with air.
I mean, I think that's a good spot to just fire through, even though he didn't turn. Interesting check back by Christoph.
Well, does have a 5 in there, and he has no time.
Time's out.
Time out, and 6-10. Good news is probably going to win this hand no matter what. Either bluffing with the best hand or check back. There's almost no way, unless he bet small and got shipped all in, but that's not happening. So Christoph gonna decide to bluff, although he didn't need to. King 9, Jack Queen, Christoph Vogel saying the second all-time money list leader in Germany. We had some absolute world champions today. Adrian Mateos, #1 in Spain, #8 all-time. So really got a treat for the quality of the players today at this final table. Johannes has played at a super high level. We've got to see it all.
Yeah. Good that he finds the value bet with Queen Jack here. Understanding that ace X is not in the range anymore, and you just have to go thin here.
All right, well, we are
10 big blinds.
We're at the 250K level. This is rare territory. 0 time bank, ace, jack, king 8. Christoph super short now. He is going to limp, and this is probably a shove and a call, and this might be it. Yeah, Christoph got to take the bait there. And again, Ace Jack, King 8, fairly live, fair fight. Ace Jack in the lead for the title. Jack comes, needs running diamonds, needs a king. Now a king only. You can see about 7%. 3 outs, 1 to come. Slow peel dealer. No paint. Got the diamond, needed 2 of those. GG's. Fedor wins the dinner wager. At home, if you had it, if you had him selected, if he was on your bingo card, Johannes played amazing. And I know in the GG client, you can make the wagers, and congrats to those that picked him and got the payout. We'll see what that looks like. Fedor, tell me about today. How strong was the play? What stood out? Give me your takeaways on a long show.
I mean, I think lots of interesting spots. In the beginning, lots of crazy hands, just like very strong hands. But not that many like coolers or setups, and then obviously the queens against aces hand was massive. Lucky for Johannes and unlucky for Kiat, but yeah, it was lots of interesting hands, and I think some really strong players on the table, so it was nice to watch.
It was. We appreciate it. I know it's late over there, and we have had ourselves a full day of action. We're going to have an amazing show next week. Of course, I can't guarantee the players that make the final table, but I can tell you it's almost for sure going to be some of the best in the world like we saw today. There was 6.7 to 1. Johannes came in. I just want to double check what place he started in. So Johannes was in 3rd, and Vogelsang started in, excuse me, 4th. So there is a look at the payouts, what happened. And again, Fedor, what a treat. So much fun. Always a pleasure. We have dinners lined up. We'll see you soon, if not in Montenegro and Vegas. And all those watching, appreciate the time, appreciate the support. Thank you for interacting and hitting the thumbs up. I'm glad you had a chance at the giveaways. We will see you same time, same place. That is for a 2:15 Eastern time start now at Daylight Savings. Appreciate everyone. See you next week. Have a good night.
Peace.